This is the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio is professional bullfighter Blake Miller. It is truly remarkable what Blake does in the rodeo arena, protecting professional bull riders and his bullfighting capabilities. But above all that, Blake is an awesome person. I really enjoyed sitting down to record this episode with him. I was thrilled that he was able to stop by and hang out with us for a couple hours, and I hope that you enjoy our conversation. Blake Miller in the house, finally putting this shit together, brother.
Finally. We've talked about it for a few times.
Yeah, man.
Finally.
I think I discovered you somehow on social media, right?
Yeah.
Like, bullfighting has always intrigued me. You're a professional bullfighter. And I think I made fun of your hair at one point, so I want to...
Yeah, no,
I was just poking fun, man. Like,
no, you're good.
We were just bullshitting on a podcast, and I think I was just jealous, dude, because I have a big bald spot up here, you know what I mean?
No, it's funny because, like, the joke you made, it's an ongoing deal in rodeo. Like,
I'm sure.
I have the best hair in rodeo, but I also, like, kind of high maintenance on it. Like, I've left hotels because they didn't have a working hair dryer and shit like that. Like, so it was just funny because I was like, damn, even this guy knows about it.
Right.
But no, it's all poking fun.
I'm sure the ladies like it, though, huh?
Oh, that's
especially with your profession.
Yeah, everybody don't understand the curls for the girls.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
It's cool. I think I received a message from whoever manages your account saying, like, hey, they shouted you out on a deal, and that's how I found out about it.
That was me, actually.
Yeah.
I do have some people that help me with booking occasionally.
Yeah.
Just because I've gotten so busy with the podcast, it's like keeping up with sponsorship, editing. So now I'm just kind of putting myself in the seat of, well, I still do it all. I still jump in and do it all, but
that's the best way to do it.
But yeah, most of the communication is through me. Occasionally I'll say, hey, reach out to these people, because I guess if it's just a simple DM, I'm all about it, right? Because I'm there, I see it, and that's normally when I'm doing it. So it's like real-time interaction. But a lot of people that we reach out to sometimes have emails or whatever. They're super hard to get a hold of, you know. Like, it's crazy, man. And I have trouble keeping up with it. That's why I have somebody kind of watching some of the messages and stuff. But
see which ones.
Yeah. You're crushing it on yours, man. Your content is amazing. What is it like being a professional bullfighter and on the road, man? Man,
it's honestly, it's a living vacation. Like getting paid to travel the world pretty much, or the country. As far as the bullfighting deal goes, man, it's just like another job. Like people, or to me, it is. How I look at it, it's just like if someone has a 9 to 5, or they go to work and sit behind a computer or whatever. Like to me, mine's the same. Like,
really?
Obviously, it's quite a bit different, but to me, it's just another day.
For the fact that you're stepping into an arena fenced in with a 2,000-pound animal sometimes, right? Like,
absolutely.
Most of those bulls are...
Yeah,
what do those things weigh, man?
They average, like the average weight for one's probably 1,300 and up, and then they'll go up from there.
And athletic is all get out, man. Like they're...
solid muscle. Like they're the real deal. I mean, they definitely have the the benefit, or they definitely outpower us. 4 legs run faster than 2 any day of the week, no matter how you look at it. So it's nothing like, I guess for me, it's more so I grew up doing it.
Really?
Or I've been around it for so long that it's just like second nature to me. It's just like someone waking up and going outside and riding a skateboard. If they do that their whole life, other people are like, how do you do that? Like, you're crazy or whatever. Me, it's just like I grew up doing it, so it's nothing new.
Just everyday life, yeah. Immersed in it. So I mean, being immersed in it, I guess let's just dive right into your background then. Like, how did you fall into... Because there's so many different avenues you could have gone down, probably coming from, I don't know where you grew up, but like I'm assuming from like a ranch community or something like that. I mean, there's so many different avenues. You could have been a bronc rider, you could have been a bareback rider, you could have been a bull rider, you could have been a calf roper, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Probably not. But.
And I've tried all of them. Like, I grew up in a small town. I think I graduated with like 50 kids. And, I mean, that's not very small to some places, but around where I'm from, it's small. It's more of like a farming community. And my dad, growing up, so my cousin is Justin McBride. He's a 2-time world champion bull rider. My brother, Bart Miller, he rode bulls professionally for years. He retired in 18. My dad, he rode bareback horses, and then I started out as a skateboarder, wakeboarder, motocross racer, ventured into rodeoing. So that's kind of like I went as the
All
black
extreme
sheep.
sports, right?
I went way left, and then I came back and followed down the Western heritage part of it. But it's a funny story, actually starting fighting bulls. I was riding bulls in Cody, Wyoming, and they have a 94-day consecutive rodeo, which every day they have a rodeo for the whole summer. It's like a tourist town, and it's a 100-day rodeo, but then you have the pro rodeo in it. But it's where young guys can go work on their craft, like whether it be saddle bronc, roping. They have the whole event, all of that. And so went up there riding bulls, and I ended up getting hurt, and I got hung up to a bull, and the bull was real small. So in this case, it would have been probably like an 800-pound bull. He was just real kind of slim. I got hung up. Well, then I was dragging. He was stepping on me, and it ripped like tendons in my riding arm. So I had to sit out, heal from that. Well, in the midst of me healing from it, me and the bullfighters, we all like bunked up in the bunkhouse together, so we all knew each other pretty good. And they had this bull that was notorious for hooking people, and you'd have to go out there and freestyle on them at the end of the rodeo. Well, they kind of did a half-ass job at night. I mean, they had to work their butts off, so they were tired. And, the contractor, he came back and he was kind of like chewing their asses like that was a piss poor effort, y'all selling the rodeo or whatever. And I just chimed in with them like, yeah, that's bullshit, guys. I could have fought that bull. Well, at that contractor, he's one of the old school ones where if you say you're going to do something or you could have done something, he's going to make you do it. So he's like, all right, well, that's good. You think you could? And I was like, oh, absolutely. Fucking around. I was probably intoxicated, but he was like, well, now you can't enter any more bull riding. Like, you can't enter the bull riding anymore until you go out there and fight the bull. So he made me dress out as a bullfighter, and I had to go out there and try it. And first night I got fired because I got on the fence too much. And I've never been fired from anything in my life, so that didn't sit well with me. And I was like, I got fired. I don't like that. I hate that. So I begged him for 4 or 5, days constantly. Let me go back out there. Please let me go back out there. Finally, he gave in. He was like, if you get on the fence, because his deal is like, if you're getting hooked, you can get on the fence after. But if you get on the fence to avoid a hooking, because he just wants to watch somebody get hooked. But if you get on the fence before a hooking takes place, then you're done. And first bull out, this bull gets me right up against the fence and just hooks the shit out of me, up and down, up and down. And it was right below where he was sitting on the chute. So finally he's like, gathers himself because he's laughing so hard. He grabs me. He's like, shit, you can get on the fence after he hooks you. But I was like, fuck, I wasn't going to get on the fence. And then after that, I was hooked literally to a bullfighting.
Really?
So
that just drove you straight into that.
Yeah. And then I had a background in like sports, like obviously with skateboarding and wakeboarding. I had good footwork. Sports, I'd played basketball and some football a little bit. And
were you always the fastest kid on the team?
No, absolutely not. No. I played defensive end some, and then
let's go.
Fullback was like I was like 4th string fullback, but defensive end and linebacker was my 2 positions.
Hell yeah, man! I miss playing football, honestly, because I'm reliving it vicariously through my son right now. Playing. And it's like every time we're at practice, I'm like, you don't know how lucky you are, man. Just enjoy this. Because I don't think I ever really enjoyed it. It was always kind of like a job or something, when you're a kid. It's like.
And that's kind of like how I was too. I was like, man, I got to put a lot of work into this. So freaking go out here and play games. Like, I'd rather go home.
Yeah.
Or, go out to the lake. I was real big into wakeboarding and racing dirt bikes, so that was kind of my go-to. That's what I was wanting to do, but God had other plans for me, which they probably were for the best, because wakeboarding, there's so much talent out there now, and
it's unbelievable what guys are doing
like
on everything on dirt bikes, wakeboards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, I was kind of around at the evolution of freestyle motocross. We were talking about, I had kind of a touring background, and where I first cut my teeth in the production world of stuff, transitioning out of music management is actually where I started. But then I rethought my career. I got tired of babysitting wannabe rock stars, and I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm gonna go on the production side, because these guys make a ton more money.
Yeah.
They have a lot more freedom. They work their asses off. It's not like I'm standing outside of a dressing room. They're physically working, right?
Yeah.
I've always liked to be physically working. The day goes by faster, everything.
Absolutely.
So I signed on with this dude as a freelance guy that was he owned a staging company, and we were kind of going back and forth. But he was big into motocross and action sports, and like that was right at the emergence of like the Haida X Games and the Metal Militia and like all those like sort of like, it was the rock stars of motocross.
Yeah.
We're starting this new thing, freestyle motocross.
Like that was like the Brian Deegan era.
Oh yeah. With Brian Deegan, Ronnie Feist, Twitch, which is still doing it.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man. And that guy's so awesome, man. So I've spent a lot of time with him, and then all the skateboarding stuff, Tony Hawk and Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam. Like it was a good ass time. And those guys were so much fun, man. Like,
oh, they look like, I wish I could have been born back then and partied with them on that. Like, I mean, I probably wouldn't be here if I partied with them, but
I'm lucky I am. I'm lucky I had to build all their ramps and shit.
Yeah.
I probably would have been,
Yeah.
a bit more.
They seemed like they were very fun. Like at least the Metal Militia, they were wild as hell, but that would have been right up my alley.
Man, all those guys. But to see how much that sport has evolved, and not to mention that, like rodeo too. Like, like kind of PBR was kind of starting around then, and just the caliber. We've talked about this before on the podcast. A couple episodes ago, we had Doug Matheson.
Yeah.
Do you know Doug?
I do know him.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I know him.
You guys are kind of from the same area. You're from around Stevensville, Texas?
Yeah, so he's from, Glen Rose or Stephenville?
I'm not sure. I think Stevensville.
Like, Glen Rose is right by Stephenville. It's like the neighboring town. But, yeah, I'm about an hour and maybe 35, 40 minutes.
Okay, so close. Yeah.
South of.
Shout out to Doug, man. He's an awesome old
he's
dude,
really good.
man. He came in here and chopped it up we were in here for a couple hours, had a good time.
Yeah, I bet he could talk a lot.
That's his job, bro.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of has to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. He probably don't remember me. We did probably my first year on my permit. We did a few rodeos together.
Nice.
So, and I think he did the Glen Rose Pro Rodeo. And I fought that one with him announcing. So,
yeah,
he's a pretty cool guy.
He's super cool guy. Yeah, I'm lucky I got to meet him and shout out to my buddy Mike Pintar who set it up. So he's a pro rodeo photographer. I don't know if maybe you've worked with him too, but
I think that was the one that you had him on when y'all were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When we were first pulling you up. Yeah, we got into the conversation of bullfighters, and I guess to bring it back to that, how do you train? Is it just getting in the arena and getting in the dirt and getting right after it? Or how do you, I mean, it's kind of how you cut your teeth.
I mean, a lot of it is more so than, I'll go back. So I think personally for me, 90% of it is watching film videos. Because if you can watch a video enough times and you see what happened or what needs to happen, if you can correct it, if it wasn't done correctly, it trains your mind to know, like, if you're ever in that position or in a situation that occurs similar to what you just watched, it's like muscle memory. Like, if you play it through your mind multiple times, then whenever you see a situation occur like that in real lifetime, like when you're out there in the arena, then your mind kind of already tells you where you need to go and be. So for me, 90% of it was always watching film. That's how I trained. And at one
Film
time,
on yourself or like
no,
other guys?
I would watch it on myself too, just to see, like, critique myself on what I did wrong, what I could do better. But like mine go-to one was Dusty Tuckness.
Yeah.
Like
He's a badass.
He's a goat. Like
Yeah.
he is, in my opinion, the best. That it's toss up between him and Cody Webster, but because
and they kind of tag team a lot of that stuff, right?
And they were always working together. Shit, they worked the finals like 15 years, I think, in a row or something like that.
That's crazy.
But I met both of them in Cody, Wyoming, which is where I kind of started fighting bulls. And I was staying with the contractor that I was working for. Dusty Tuckness, really close to him. He was living, like, he would stay with Maury Tate and them while he was in town because Dusty's from Wyoming. And so I always just thought it was cool. I was like, man, this dude's like a world champion. He's a badass. And I'm like feet away from him. Like, don't talk to him because I'm like intimidated by him. But at the time, so I was like, man, that's cool as shit. And he had a promo video and it was like 15 minutes long. But I watched it so many times. I could not even be looking at the video. You could be watching the video. And with just the songs that he had playing throughout the promo, I could tell you what bull he was fighting, what he did, where he was at, what he was wearing, what moves he made, just off of like watching it so many times. Like, I knew exactly what was going on. So that helped me a bunch, like, just get fundamentally sound. But then the other 10%, like the next, I would say 7.5% is physical. Like, you got to be somewhat in shape. But I know guys that are, obese, like fat guys, that can read cattle really good, and they can just make little steps.
So understanding that animal behavior, but
what I mean, reading them, like,
I would think with what you're doing. I mean, you're back flipping over bulls sometimes.
That's full send. You just fucking close your eyes, hope it works. Literally, that's it.
You got to pull up Blake's Instagram here. We got to watch some of these highlights. So, I guess for cross training and stuff, like, what are you kind of doing? Are you putting in miles, just running, or is it like...
Fun fact, I hate running.
Yeah, me too.
No, so more so, I run now just because I'm coming back and I'm out of shape, or, not as in greatest shape as I was. But a lot of it's quick twitch muscles. Like, so you're exploding with your, like, steps, footwork.
A lot of juking, right?
Yeah. So you want to be, like, super quick on your, like, light on your feet. So any foot drill, like a lot of football drills, cones, karaoke.
That makes sense.
Stuff like that. Just be comfortable with moving around. I do a lot of work. I do a lot of working out in, like, a sand pit, just because it's, like, the same deal as working in an arena. And it's a lot different than, going out and playing basketball on a hardwood floor. Like, when you're in an arena, dirt can be level. A bull's, like, is bucking right there. Well, now it's not. So you got to be really good with being on your feet.
And it's fairly deep, right? So, like,
yeah, there is like some places, like, a lot of it varies. Like, some places are really hard. Some places are really deep. Some places are, just firm, real nice. But contractors, they prefer more of like a firm, solid, hard ground. But bullfighters, we want kind of like a soft not
landing,
deep, but like soft.
Yeah.
I don't know, or that 1.3 million.
Yeah, click on that one.
That one would be one, I think, that has.
Our internet's pretty horrible here, being up in the mountains, so.
It is showing it on my end, so.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Hopefully for the viewers it'll be like
Here it goes. That's fucking crazy, man.
Badass. So badass.
That one worked out a lot better than it could have.
Yeah, no joke.
Yeah, that's just
So coming from the skate community, and I've always been a fan of Vans, I noticed a lot of bullfighters out there are in like football cleats or like some sort of cleats, and
pussy.
you're
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
you're out there in Vans high tops. Is that kind of an
Man.
homage to?
That's kind of like just a trademark.
Yeah,
I grew up wearing Vans. Like at one point in high school, I had every color of Vans you could possibly have, like the low top skating Vans. So
yeah.
I've always liked Vans, and then when I started fighting bulls, I started out in Under Armour Cam Newton cleats, just because they were high tops and they had like the little ankle strap. And then I was like, well, shit, everybody's wearing these, and I don't like being like everybody else. You know, I like kind of having standing out, being different. And I was like, well, shit, I got a pair of Vans, like they're high top and they're lace ups. If I just pull them tight, then I got ankle support right there. And you know, like Vans, they make them where they got the pad on the side and stuff. So I was like,
They've come a long ways. It's not just the old, like their snowshoes are badass.
that's
man.
what
the MTEs or whatever. I think it's, is it MTE?
MTN.
MTN. Yeah.
That's what I wear because they have like the grip on the bottom.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Before they came out with those, actually, I was just wearing the old school slick bottoms.
I got a pair of Vans snow boots for like when because we'll get like feet of snow here.
Yeah.
It gets pretty wild
I
sometimes.
bet.
And they are fucking badass.
And they're
man.
waterproof, like they're water resistant or whatever. So it works out kind of.
Yeah, Gore-Tex. I mean, you can spend $300 on a pair of Vans nowadays.
Yeah,
it's
easily.
crazy.
Like I would get mine custom, and then I had a little deal worked out with Vans. Like they cut me a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I would hope so. If you're in the arena rocking,
And
them,
I was
like,
like,
it's kind of a new market for them too. I mean,
Yeah, because I mean, at first the guy was like, his name's Adam, but like the ones, if you scroll up one more, like right there on the far left video, like those are a pair of Vans that I got custom made.
Oh, sweet.
Well,
That is
no.
crazy from a standing position.
Yeah, that
If you're just listening to this podcast, you need to go watch the video right now. This will really put in perspective what we're talking about. Go over to that one where in the pink shirt right there. I got to ask you about this because I think that this is the first video that I saw that caught my eye. You get hooked by this bull up against the chutes,
yeah.
thrown to the ground, and then it looks like his back legs come over and step directly on you.
Yeah, that son of a bitch, he did. Like right here,
God damn, man.
he lands right.
That is a big ass bull, too.
Yeah, and he's one of the bigger ones. So he's pushing he's no less than 1,900, every bit of 2,000 probably. And
He hooked you in the face, too, it looks
yeah,
like.
he kind of hit me in my chin. It was a hell of a deal, really. I was kind of like, shit.
So, were you able to walk away?
Oh,
from
yeah.
that one?
That was like the first or second bull out that night. And so then I got up and, you know, that guy that was in the video with me, Clint, he's a buddy I kind of grew up fighting bulls with. He's like, you all right? And I was like, fuck, that's a way to start a bull riding, huh? And then we went and finished out the bull riding.
That's...
Man, a lot of that,
How do you walk away from that?
God, I mean, that's literally the only thing that, I mean, in 90%, all of my videos really, just because I have this motto, like, God has my back, so I'll have yours. Meaning, like, you know, I'll go into hell for you just because I know I'm going to come out.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I really like that about you. Like, that's one thing I wanted to commend you on. Like, I don't know where my faith lies. A lot of it lies in nature. It's not that I don't believe in God. It's just like, I just still haven't figured. It's something I'm still trying to figure out, man. And I'm 45 years old. You know,
man,
what I mean?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
But I think it's so cool. Like the verse that you put on your Instagram page. We should pull that up real quick. It's at the very top,
Is this it?
under his profile. And then I noticed every time you walk in the arena, you put a cross into the dirt, just kind of a.
You know, yeah, just, I mean, in rodeo, we're one of the only sports, if not the only sport, that still prays before we start.
Yeah.
And still does the national anthem, and everybody stands for that. But like we pray before the rodeo event starts, and then I'll say a prayer before I go out there. But mainly the cross on the ground. That's just like I'm not just trying to have God protect me. I want His hand to be over the entire arena, watch over all the livestock, all the contestants, personnel working, like all the people that are there watching. And so it's more like just I put the cross in there. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like His presence is there, even though I know it's always there, even if I didn't do that. But just kind of like a second bit of security.
Yeah.
Well.
Man, it is one of the most dangerous sports, I think, that is out there, if not the most.
It'd be arguably, like, I would say it's arguably the most. Second is the close second would probably be, to me, motocross. But
yeah, man, motocross is
because I don't
gnarly.
I don't know if any other sport. I mean, I don't know any other sports that go out there and are doing crazy shit like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the only reason I think rodeo would win is because, you crash a motorcycle, like you're 20, 30 feet in the air, but once you hit the ground, that bike, it don't come back after you. Shit's done. Like you're just laying there hurt.
Right. It's not chasing you down.
Versus you get hurt, you hit the ground, the shit's not over until the bull leaves. Like,
Yeah.
And most of them, they'll come back after you and stuff like that. So that's the only reason I think it'd be the most dangerous. Like in UFC, I mean, that's dangerous in itself.
I mean, they're all dangerous in their own right,
Yeah,
right? But like
it
for
gets stopped by a
physical
referee.
abuse, man, and injuries, which kind of, what do you guys wear? Do you wear any sort of protection, like any sort of like padding or?
Yeah,
like I know the bullfighters, or I'm sorry, the bull riders are required to wear a helmet now. They're required to wear
Or they
like a
don't have
chest
to-
protector, right?
Yeah, so it's mandatory you wear a vest.
Okay.
They don't have to wear a helmet, although it's highly encouraged. But no, I don't know. I think if you scroll down, there should be one video.
That one in the middles. Are you running across that bull's back
Yeah.
at that point or jumping?
Yeah,
That is wild.
that one.
You're like 6 feet in the air.
Yep. Just kind of like selling the show. I don't know.
Is that something that you're required to do? Is kind of like be a showman, or is it?
So
Is that kind of on your own, or
that's more so on your own. But if you scroll up a little bit, that one in the middle. So right there so right there, you see me, I'm adjusting my vest. So we just got done. So all it is, like in a bull rider's vest, they have leather and then foam inside the vest. Ours are a half inch or a quarter inch of like Tempur-Pedic foam type memory foam on the inside. On the outside of that, there's a quarter inch piece of plastic. And then you have 8-inch rib pads that go around your ribs that have a plastic on it, kind of, ricochet off like your.
So is this specifically made for bullfighters?
Yeah.
Really?
So that's
cool.
a Jones Pro vest. Gary Jones, shout out to him because he keeps me outfitted with the best, like life-saving vest there is. Like on that video of me where I got stomped on, the very first video. If it wasn't for the vest, then I mean, definitely probably wouldn't have gotten up. Probably would have still lived, but would have definitely been in a lot more pain than I was.
How much protection does it actually provide? Is it just for punctures, or is it like that bull's back legs came around like full force?
Yeah,
and
so
stepped on you.
It really. Well, I can't say that. It don't take away the pressure, but it'll keep a horn from going in you, or like his back feet. If I wasn't wearing a vest, the edge of their hoofs are pretty. They can be sharp.
Yeah.
So it could have, definitely cut me or something. But yeah, no, I guess like force wise, it's going to like blunt the blow a little bit. But
where did that bull specifically land on you? In your abdominals?
so I was
or?
like on the side. Like when he slammed me down, I landed on my shoulder because it dislocated my left shoulder, and then I went to roll over to like get up to move because I knew he was coming. So he kind of just landed on the back of my ribs, but it was more of like on the back side of it, so that plastic kind of like deflected his back feet. So instead
deflected
of
2,000 pounds.
yeah. So I mean, it still hurt. Don't get me
Beast.
wrong. Like it broke three ribs. But you know, say if it would have been about an inch further up and it would have just came down, it could have crushed my whole rib cage. But the plastic.
And you fought the rest of the rodeo.
Oh yeah, shit.
With a dislocated shoulder and
no,
3
they
broken
put
ribs.
it so on the corner. Like we have sports med there, and I got up and I told my buddy it was like dislocated, and I ran over there, and it was funny. I'd seen videos of how they put shoulders back in, and I ran over there and I was like, my shoulder's out, and like of course it's down here, and everyone's like, what's going on? Like what? And I'm like, shit, we're about to buck another bull. So I climbed up on the fence, put my arm over the top rail, and I just like jumped down, and it caused my arm to like stay up, and it threw it back in socket, and I was like, oh shit, we're good now, and then went back over there and finished it.
What is the adrenaline like at that point? Are you feeling all the pain,
No,
or is it like your adrenaline's so high?
It's so like the adrenaline's so high, but also I have a very high pain tolerance. Now there's been times where I've gotten kicked in the face, and I mean, no amount of adrenaline will make you not feel your face.
You got kicked in the face by a bull?
Yeah, so it'd be like right when I first started, it'd be like one of the very first videos on here, so it'd be way down there.
Wow.
But yeah, I had one kick me in the face, and it broke my jaw. Needless to say, I didn't finish that rodeo, but
God, man,
I think there was
crazy.
only like 7 or 8 bulls left in it. But yeah, no, I fought bulls with a broken arm, like had to finish out riding with the broken arm. Had one snap it, like, right, a bull kicked it, and he just like it. I was right at the peak of his extension, and then was that the very first?
No, it's not. Just
Is-
another good view of that vest.
Oh yeah,
Is that you as a young man?
that is me, man.
That's crazy.
So that's in 16. That's the year.
How old were you there?
I would say probably.
You look like you're 15 years old or something in that, man.
No, I'm probably 17.
Wow.
16, 17. Yeah, so 16, 17, and that would be, so that slow-mo pro or slow pro video right there. Yeah, that's one where he gets me.
Oh.
Down goes Frazier.
Whew. Were you out cold?
No, but it damn sure.
I don't mean to laugh, but like,
Yeah.
fuck it. I tell you what, never fight a rodeo cowboy at a bar or anything, man, because they
It's
are
not a
not
good
scared
idea.
of fucking anything. They get kicked. They get kicked by horses. They get slammed down. I mean, no man is going to put the fear.
You might whoop my ass that night, but you're going to whoop my ass every time you see me after that. Blind squirrel gets lucky every now and then. No, like that. About that time, it would have been a different story, like for fighting wise. Now, I mean, shit, it hurts even if you win.
Yeah.
But,
it's so stupid too, man. Like street fighting is
yeah.
the dumbest stuff ever. Or bar fight. I mean,
it ain't worth it for sure.
hell no. It's not worth
There's
it.
another video. I forgot about it. I don't know if I have it saved on there, but oh yeah, so that video in the middle, that's a good one. This kid gets hung up.
This is all just you getting wrecked?
This one.
Oh.
So that kid's hung up in the rope, and I was able to get in there, get him out, and then turn me a flip. That one didn't hurt, actually. I remember that. but I landed on the back of my head.
So how many years have you been doing this now?
So I guess 14. That was my first year in Cody.
So you're going on 10 years then.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
So 10 years fighting bulls, 6 years professionally, 4 years as my sole income, like as a living.
Wow. What
And
what's the worst injury you've experienced personally? I know you're just coming off of one, right? Like
so I broke
we were
my
going to do
leg.
this sooner, and then you couldn't make it because you were laid up.
I was going to go to a rodeo in Colorado, but I had broke my leg like a couple weeks before that. It was a freak deal. A bull came out. It was at a freestyle, and he didn't move over. I didn't check him over enough, and then his horn just hit my leg just like kind of knocked my legs out from under me. He didn't like knock me to the ground or nothing. He just stuck me, and then I was like, fucking my legs broke, and got up, and I was like, I mean, like I said, my legs broke, but he's still like on my ass, so I'm like having to get away from him. And that's where I'd say like it could be the most dangerous sport, because got a broken leg. There ain't no timeouts. There ain't no, hey, please stop.
Yeah.
Like, so he was on my ass, and I had to, that's where adrenaline came in. I got away from him, but afterwards, I felt the pain like right then. But worst would probably be about 2 years ago. So a freestyle bullfight is 60 seconds long. And
that's where you're competing against other bullfighters, right?
Yeah.
For like prize money or something. So like a bullfighters only or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a freestyle, and it was a bullfighters only sanctioned deal. I fought the bull for 60 seconds is the time. At any time after 40 seconds, you can declare the fight over. Fought the bull for 40 seconds. Went to make a sell, which is just your last move before you call the fight and you get out.
Because you're being judged, right? By a panel of judges or rodeo judges, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So they're judging you. And so you want to get a good sell. Like a sell is like you do something like a cape, or you jump them or do whatever. Shows that you're in control of the animal. And then you leave like a badass. Well, I did a sell, sold it, and then went to like get away from this bull, and he proceeded to get me down. He hooked me for 30 seconds after.
Is anybody coming to your rescue?
Oh,
at
absolutely.
That point?
Like every other bullfighter that's entered in the bullfight, as well as, I think there's 5. No, there's 4. There's 7 other guys like trying to get the bull off of me, but like he wasn't having it. He was like,
wow,
fuck this guy.
You're making me look like an asshole.
I mean, literally, like he would pick up on guys, and then towards the end of it, like he was getting so tired of hooking me and everybody else that was around, like he'd stand over the top of me and wouldn't let anybody get near me. It was like he was like protecting me, but he was protecting other people from saving me.
Right.
And it broke all my ribs on my right side, 3 on my left. Punctured a lung, bruised my lungs, ruptured my spleen, lacerated my liver.
That's like a near-death experience. Laceration, lacerated liver. Like you don't have long to live, right?
Like it was ruptured the spleen. Yeah, it was a pretty good deal. It took me at first I was just like, man, this is fucking sore, like whatever. And it took me, I had to stop 3 times to go 40 feet, like to get to my vehicle. And I'm like at that time I was really in really, really good shape. So I'm walking, have to stop to catch my breath. Feel like I'm about to pass out. Get up, walk a couple more feet, have to stop.
So what was your plan? Were you going to drive yourself to the hospital?
No, I was honestly just going over there to like change. There was a badass like concert afterwards I was going to go to. But no, I was just trying to make it to my car. That way I could sit down away from everybody, gather myself, and then address like what's going on or if I need to go to the doctor. And it just so happened my dad, he was there. He comes like to the car to check on me, and I'm like slumped over, not talking back. Like he's asking me questions, trying to get my attention. I'm not talking to him. Comes over there and I'm like barely breathing. So then he finds like the medics, and then they haul my ass to the emergency room.
Damn.
Which is like, they said I was going into shock, and then
Shock of missing the concert, huh?
yeah, like I was fucking pissed. But I'll tell you what. So about halfway through that ambulance ride, because they hooked me up to all this shit and they get me stable or whatever. Well, I come back too, and I just remember laying in there, and I was like, "Fuck, this is a long ass drive." And after an hour of being in the ambulance and we're still driving, I said, "Hey, if y'all need to stop for diesel, y'all pull over, use my card. That way I don't get charged this extra fucking charge on y'all having to get fuel for this ambulance." Because we drove, it was an hour and 25 minutes to the Austin, like, trauma center.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, this is going to be an expensive bill. So y'all just use my card if y'all get fuel, because I know y'all mark that shit up. But no, so that, and then they took me in the room and all that, and they got me stable and all that. And
How long were you in the hospital on that one?
till the next morning. And then I had to get out of there because I had to go to a bullfight in Fortuna, California that next weekend. And I was
So back at it that next weekend with broken ribs and
oh yeah. Yeah. I was doing really good in the I was like fourth in the BFO standings
so
at that time. So I was like, fuck, I gotta make it.
obviously they're not making you show up with like in the UFC they have fighting commissions and stuff that you have to be checked out by a doctor before you walk in to compete.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, but they're getting there.
are they?
I know the pro rodeo, bull rider, bronc rider, any contestant, you have to go through a protocol, like a concussion protocol, a physical, and all that stuff. The BFO won't be too long before, I guess, like, I bet you they start making them have somebody on site to do those. But at that time they didn't, so it was fucking full send.
That's crazy. And is there, for you guys as bullfighters, it's a little bit different situation because the bull riders, the bronc riders, anybody in the timed events, they're all going after prize money. And it's pretty much, other than their endorsements, it's kind of really the only money that they really make, right, is that prize money.
Yep.
So they're paying an entry fee, from my understanding.
Yep.
And then competing for prize money. So it's like somebody entering a golf tournament where there's a paid prize, right? Or something like that to relate it to your everyday person. You guys as the bullfighters are a little bit different, right? Like you're getting paid every rodeo because it is like a job.
Mm-hmm.
Is that through the rodeo production, or is it through the stock contractor? Is it his responsibility?
Well, it goes like there's some rodeos like in Abilene, Kansas, that's a committee hire. So like the rodeo production, which in like your background, your rock and roll or whatever, you have production teams.
Mm-hmm.
So like the rodeo is a committee. That's the production side of the rodeo. So like in each town you have a group of people that come together and put the whole event on, call them rodeo committees. They will sometimes pay us. Like Abilene's a committee hired rodeo.
We actually have a pretty big PRCA rodeo here in town. It's like a big deal. It's been here 30 years. That's when we had Doug in.
Oh, really?
And it's all run by a committee. It's a badass rodeo. It's like 2 days. It's over Father's Day weekend. And
shoot,
I mean, we get some.
Have to talk to figure out who the committees are.
I can put you in touch. Like, I'll put you in touch with somebody, or I can find out who.
Yeah, and see if we can't come back down here. And
hell yeah.
Work the rodeo. But yeah, so the committee, like some rodeos, bigger rodeos, like the committee will hire you, which is what a lot of bullfighters prefer because you get more money that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's other rodeos, like you'll work for a stock contractor, do all of his rodeos, unless a committee is a committee hired rodeo. And they have a set rate for what they pay, and then the committee, they're flexible with what they'll pay. So if they really like you and you do a really good job, and the contestants like you, like the bull riders aren't like, dude, that bullfighter sucks, like why is he here? if they're like, man, he's badass, then you can get more money per night.
Mm.
So and we get paid to show up. Like,
But at that point, you're still kind of a freelancer, right? Because you're bouncing between employers. So,
oh, absolutely.
what does medical insurance look like? Does the PRCA cover you guys with any sort of like medical? I mean,
They do.
Really?
But I will not comment on how good it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we can just leave it at that.
Because it ain't worth a fuck.
We can edit that out too if
But-
we need to.
No, I don't care. You put it on. But we have the PRCA does have a justice crisis team. So like Justin Boots, they have a crisis team. So anybody that gets hurt while participating in or performing in a PRCA sanctioned event, then they'll come in. Because like PRCA insurance is better than no insurance, but I had surgery on my leg. I had to pay more out of pocket than what the PRCA covered. But that, I mean, it's all business ran or whatever. Like, I understand on their standpoint, they're not going to.
Our whole country's fucked with insurance right now. I mean, it's like, it's highway robbery on a lot of stuff. It's crazy. Like some of the stuff that I do medically, just because I'm doing some stuff outside of what a normal doctor would do for you or a normal practitioner that's under like a big corporation, because a lot of these, like your primary care doctors are these huge corporations. So they put out a textbook of like, this is what we'll cover. This is what you should prescribe for this. And a lot of times you're not even seeing a doctor. You're seeing a physician assistant, which is like a high level nurse, basically, in my mind, right?
I don't even know.
So I've sought out like private doctors
just to be able
for
to
my own, where you pay like a subscription fee on top of your insurance.
Yeah.
But at least I'm talking to a doctor. At least he's looking at it from he doesn't have. I mean, there's still guidelines that they have to follow, but it's not as stringent, right? Because it's not a corporation. It's not about making money. They're not owned by pharmaceutical companies. A lot of those corporations, believe it or not, are owned by pharmaceutical companies too.
Yeah.
So you might be feeling down in the dumps because you broke 5 ribs, and they could prescribe you SSRIs and fucking all kinds of shit, dude. Painkillers, which are, I don't know if you've ever dealt with those, but
no, I don't take them.
man, I can't believe you haven't. But you've steered right, because I know so many people, freestyle motocross guys, that have gotten severely addicted to painkillers, and it's a hard one to break, man.
It is, and like I grew up, in a, I'm not gonna say a broken family because it wasn't broken, but my mom, she struggled a lot with addictions, and that's one of them is pain or pills and stuff. So, I mean, I took it.
I think everybody does, though, man. Like I have multiple family members that are basically, I mean, they've been through some shit, right? They like survived cancer or this or that, but they're all prescribed pain pills, and it just shows up every month.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, once you get on those, man, you feel so good when you're on them. When you're off, it is the worst feeling in the world, man. Like
you become dependent on it.
You become depressed too. It's a psychotic thing.
And so
too,
like that, or I guess that would be what my mother was on. She was antidepressants, which we could jump into that if you wanted to, but my opinion on all of that, like it's all in your mind. Like, you can either choose to be happy, but I don't believe that there's a thing out there like a pill that you can take that's just going to make you happy. It's all in your mind. Like
that, all that does is like it clouds it, it masks.
Yeah,
my experience, I like to do everything as natural as possible, and this is why I'm seeking medical care or medical professionals outside of what my insurance will cover, right?
Yeah.
And kind of to bring it back to that full circle, if they bill the insurance, they charge the premium amount because they know that they can get the premium amount, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just a fucking money laundering thing almost.
Literally.
But if you ask them how much it is privately, like something that might cost $10,000 might only cost you $800 if you're doing it privately or paying
100%.
out of pocket. It's believable, and it's highway robbery. But to take it back, man, there's so many people on antidepressants right now. And I am a firm believer in seeking alternative natural medicines. I'm not pushing psychedelics to everybody. I don't think that that's a good thing either, man. I think that there's a lot of underlying stuff too in that.
I've never tried.
And it's become so popular now as like your fix all problems for like PTSD and all the stuff. And I think it is totally beneficial, but you can't just go out to the alley and be like, yo, give me a 1/4 ounce of mushrooms or give me 4 hits of LSD and go home and do it. Like that. It needs to be in a safe environment. It has to be with some intention. You have to be kind of mentally stable before you go into that, or it could be even worse when you come out, man. You could be like fucking in psychosis. Now you got a real problem.
I've never dealt with any, like I've never taken shrooms or anything. Like I think the hardest thing I've ever done was cocaine a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you have to go into psychedelics. Like, you have to be physically fit. I think you have to be happy with your body, right? Which nobody is nowadays because everybody's on an Instagram feed. I'm watching you jump over bulls, and I have trouble running 3 miles, right? Or being athletic with my kid. You know what I mean? Like, So I think that there's so much rock and roll stuff out there, but like you have to have some sort of and this is going to sound pussy and like for all these guys out here, and I'm more of a realist, man, like some of that is genetic. Some people are born genetically more athletic than others, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I think you have to really look in the mirror, set some goals for yourself, reach those goals. And then if you aspire to set new goals and reach those, right? Like,
you got to
focus on yourself when it comes to your athletic ability. Don't watch all these influencers telling you how to get, bigger biceps or whatever it is. I mean, that stuff is helpful, but comparison is the thief of joy, right? So
Absolutely.
Like, I think going into psychedelics or something like this, I encourage, with my experience, and I don't talk about it much because I don't want to be an influence into that. I've had really positive experiences and I've had really negative experiences. And I've done them pretty much all, when you on the psychedelic level, and some are much stronger than others. But the worst experience I had is when I was feeling depressed already or feeling down. Like, I think you have to go into it with an intention and a kind of a goal in itself. Like, what am I trying to achieve by putting myself in an altered state? You're going to be vulnerable forever, however long that's happening. So make sure you're surrounded by good people.
That's what
Make sure you're in a comfortable environment. Like, seek out a shaman. Like, there are people that do this as a profession, right?
Like, just give you a safe place, I guess, to try.
Yeah, and it's not some dude that looks like Alex Pajedo, Shama. But I think that everybody envisions a shaman as like some dude in the rainforest with fucking face paint, like a warrior dude, right? But there's a ton of people out there, and they should, I don't know, I think it should just be accessible to more people, because I think there is really a lot of benefit, and there's a ton of benefit if you're a creative person or an athlete or something like that. What I will recommend, though, for everybody to try, and the safest way to get into it, is start with a microdose and a journal. And just noticing little things like sunlight. And you can there's a bunch of natural ways to put yourself in a psychedelic trip without ingesting any drugs, man. If you've ever been in a sleep deprivation, or not sleep deprivation, a float tank, what do they call those things? Sensory deprivation tank, I think. Yeah. Have you ever been in one of those?
Y'all are speaking way outside my pay
Whoa,
grade.
dude. If you want to have a psychedelic experience with no drugs, you basically crawl into this capsule. It's not good if you're claustrophobic, but I spent a majority of my career in a tour bus bunk, which is like basically a rolling coffin down the road, right? And I never slept better, so I'm super comfortable in this. But I think they put like 2,000 or 3,000 pounds of salt in there.
So it's like no gravity?
It is. So you're completely weightless. Your ears are typically underwater, and I go as far as putting earplugs in too, just so the water's not like kind of seeping into your ears. You go in there, you can have light on, you can have light off, but it's total darkness. It is the most relaxed I've ever felt coming out of a massage, deep muscle tissue things, electrical shock therapy, drugs. I mean, you come out of it totally refreshed, and you're in there for 45 minutes because your body is weightless and it's like a zero gravity type thing. So there's no muscle. Like if you lay in a bed,
Like
there's still muscles that are contracting to keep you from
yeah.
whatever. Maybe you're rolling over on your side, but this, you're completely buoyant and completely weightless.
I'd be all about trying that.
And it's really strange because the first like 5 minutes, your brain kind of wanders, but then you kind of start to lose track of time, especially if you're in the dark and not seeing any light. You kind of start seeing some light trails. It's not like a vivid, like coming out of a DMT trip, but you do go down like a psychedelic path. And to the point where now, if I'm laying in bed, I can put myself in that same sort of state of mind just from experiencing this. I've probably done this a dozen times. And there's spots all over the country that look up Float Lab. See, I don't think there's any in Colorado, but they're kind of all over California. And it's basically like you go in and you get in the float tank.
You like
for
fall
45
asleep in there and
minutes.
stuff?
What's that?
You like go to sleep in there?
I never have, because I kind of go into it with the intention of just relaxing, really.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just a decompression thing.
I'd
for
say
me, I
my
guess.
luck, I'd fucking go in there, pass out, drown.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I could see how that would be really beneficial.
I mean, it's buoyant enough. You'd be shocked at how buoyant it is. Like, it's pretty insane.
How much Epsom salt I need to buy at Walmart and put it in my bathtub?
2,000 pounds, dude. It's like
You gotta buy
literally
that
that much. Yeah, I think so.
Damn.
Yeah,
See,
that'll be the next thing. Look up how much salt is in a.
because we put salt in like floated our golf balls.
Uh-huh.
You put Epsom salt in like a bucket, and it tells you like which side's heavier on the golf ball.
Oh, really?
Bryson DeChambeau did it, so I was like, I gotta do it. But no shit.
But I mean, so to bring it back to my point, so 800 to 1,500 pounds. Sorry, I was off by 500 pounds, but still, it's a shitload of salt. I mean, you need a fucking dump truck full of salt, basically.
Literally.
Yeah.
I don't think they sell that much at Walmart.
And then the tanks filter stuff different. And dude, if I could own one of these things, this would be my purchase over a cold plunge or a sauna or anything like that. But like, to bring it back to that, like, cold plunge therapy is so huge. Sauna therapy is huge. And when you use it, what times a day? But I think the biggest thing I've taken away, and shout out to Andrew Huberman. I don't know if you listen to Huberman Labs at all. Oh, dude, you're on the road a lot, so you have time to listen to podcasts. Stop listening to my dumb ass.
No.
And go over and listen to Andrew Huberman on Huberman Labs. It's Huberman Labs is his podcast name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Andrew Huberman is a former like skateboarder, grew up in the punk rock area. He's probably in his 50s, 55 right about now. Total kind of dirtbag, rebel against, everything. I think he even played punk rock music at one point. At one point, he decided the most punk rock thing to do, being a true punker, was to be a neuroscientist and like dissect brains and like.
That's what we need.
I mean, it's crazy. On some of his podcasts, he talks about, when you go to the deli at the grocery store and they grab that big thing of turkey and slice it.
I don't know where you're going.
Like putting a brain on there and doing that, man. Like gnarly shit, right?
But why would you do that?
He's studying neurotransmitters, chemicals in the brain, different effects, what different drugs have, what different placebos happen during...
So he's like studying the brain, I guess.
Yeah,
like
and so he's done an entire episode just on cold plunge therapy and what it does to your brain and how much dopamine it releases and why it's beneficial, why it could be or not beneficial for your body. He looks at all the options and he's very like open. But the biggest thing I took away from him is my routine in the morning was get up, slam coffee. Like first thing was start the coffee pot, sit and drink coffee, and then go do my workouts. And then about like 3:00 in the afternoon, I was just always like fucking dog tired. I mean, not even like eating carbs or anything like that, because carbs will do it to me too. Like
They'll make you
if
tired.
I have like a Jimmy John sandwich for lunch, dude, I'm fucked for like the next 2 hours, man. Like I feel like shit. But I listened to some podcast and he was like, sunlight is so crucial to the human body and just being outside. So like when you first wake up, and Colorado's the perfect spot to do it, go outside in your boxers and stand in the sun for like 10 to 15 minutes and it naturally wakes you up. It releases all this dopamine. It's like it's going back to like kind of a primitive way of life. Like you crawled out of the teepee, you didn't have a coffee pot and a TV to turn on or a phone to look at. So I don't even look at my phone until I've done this. I go outside for 15 minutes and then I'll come in and do whatever I need to do, get breakfast, make a protein shake, whatever. And then I typically cold plunge or work out first thing in the morning. I'm a real pussy when it comes to the cold plunge, though. I don't like doing it first thing in the morning. I like doing it after my workout. But anyways, and then I'll ingest caffeine. So like I don't drink caffeine until like 1, 2 o'clock, and totally I'm sustained all day.
But you feel a difference like just going out there in the morning?
Yeah, so it has something to do with your adrenals. If you drink caffeine right away, like there's an adrenal gland that releases this chemical that kind of makes you tired. So that's what you're feeling, is that the caffeine keeps you up for that 5 or 6 hours. But then because you haven't fully woken up, your body, and I'm totally butchering this, go listen to Andrew Huberman, doesn't release this other chemical, I think, which is epinephrine.
Sounds about right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's adrenaline. Because I got stung by like a bunch of bees probably a couple weeks ago, and I normally have
norepinephrine, I think, is what it is.
But that's what they had to give me the first one you said, because I have an EpiPen, but I didn't have it. And
Are you allergic to bees?
Highly allergic.
Oh shit!
Like went into shock twice because of it.
Really? Like anaphylactic? Like I couldn't breathe?
Yeah. Like
that's crazy.
And then they gave me that. I just call it adrenaline, but
yeah,
it's a
adrenals. Norepinephrine, I think. Yeah. But anyways, and we're going to get a million comments on why I'm wrong, but I don't care. But anyways, it has something to do with the chemical balance. Like if you ingest caffeine right away, and also if you don't get sunlight. So the best time, and then it comes down to sunlight and the time of day. Like you're supposed to come out when the sun's rising, so you get like that orange and blue hue.
Yep.
And it does something to your brain chemically that releases all these chemicals where you feel good. You go into the day like.
And you know what makes sense about that is, and it just made sense or I just thought of it. I do a bunch of driving. Like obviously I'm got to go to Wyoming, like the northern part of Wyoming after this. But it's always like if you drive all night, you'd be dog ass tired. But then when the sun starts coming up, it's like it hits you like you get a second wind. And that would make sense because as the sun's coming up, you're getting hit with that.
You're getting that sunlight.
Like, I'm super fucking tired. Obviously, you're going to be tired if you've been driving all night, straight through the night, after you just got done with the performance, like the night before. But I always wondered how the hell, like, once the sun was at a certain point, I was like, shit, I can keep going. And like,
I just sent you down a serious rabbit hole, dude.
I was like, shit. But now it makes sense. I mean,
yeah, definitely. When you get on the road, listen to Andrew Huberman. He's got all kinds of stuff, like how alcohol affects your body. It's all useful stuff. What nicotine does to you.
I don't know if I want to like hear the bad stuff it does.
I
I
selectively listen to stuff.
Yeah.
But it's changed my. I mean, don't listen to the drinking one if you're a drinker and you like to drink.
You telling me I can only drink two? Fuck you, Aaron or Andrew.
Which actually, I think I'm gonna have a drink with you here in just a minute. But
This is the circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythm. That's what it is. Yeah. So look up that podcast. He talks. I think he does a whole 2-hour podcast just on the circadian rhythm, and then also when you're using hot and cold therapy. So like if you're gonna do a sauna, you want to do it later in the evening, and it'll make you sleep better. because your body naturally heats up and cools down itself, and that's what makes you tired. You know, like, so it's to take it back to driving, if you start getting really tired at night and it's a winter day, all you got to do is roll down the window or crank the AC.
Another crazy thing that I've already been doing. I've been doing that.
Yeah.
I was coming up to Cody, Wyoming, like literally that first summer I came up here, it was like we'd be super tired, but it would be cold as shit.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have the heater rolling, and then my cousin, he was like, roll the window down, cold weather, wake you up. And I mean, it does. But I never thought about the science part of it. I mean,
yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. Like, so it does different things, even though that you're feeling like, say you get in an ice tub, right? And you do a 5-minute plunge or 10 minutes, whatever you can handle. And depending on how cold it is, you go into that your body then goes in, when it goes into hypothermia, your body temperature is actually, well, I guess that's not true when you go into hypothermia, but when you put yourself in a hypothermia simulation, your body naturally fights it by heating up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your core temperature is actually higher and you're making it rise. That's why you start shivering, all that sort of stuff. So that keeps you awake because it wants you awake. But when you get into a heated situation, so like if you've ever experienced like heat stroke or something, especially probably coming from Texas, dude. Like,
I'm glad I'm
that
up
is
here,
gnarly there. That's kind of, your body kind of shuts down. Like the first thing you want to do is go like take a nap, right? Like just get in crawl in someplace cold and sleep.
Yeah.
And it's because your body is naturally cooling itself. It's strange, man.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And he breaks it down so a dumb guy like me can understand it.
Well, that's
regurgitate
good, he starts talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm going to be lost.
Yeah. But I'm sure you could apply some of this to bullfighting, even like just like things.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he did a whole thing on just adrenaline, and I know the phones were big with this and stuff like that. Like certain things that you can do. So when your adrenaline dump, like say you're an NFL linebacker, you want your heightened adrenaline dump to be while you're playing a game so you can be more athletic. So he goes...
What do you mean dump? Like where you reach the peak?
So like if you... Okay, let's say you met... Let's break it down to this. You meet some super hot chick before the rodeo.
Yeah.
You're having a good time. You're out messing around with her. Maybe you guys go for a run. You're feeling good. All this adrenaline is naturally dumping, right?
Yeah.
So it's dumping. So when you go in that night into the rodeo, you're only allowed so much adrenaline.
Yeah.
So people get it from playing video games. So say you're playing Call of Duty for all night, and then you have to go fight bulls the next day, your adrenaline might be depleted enough that it could affect you athletically, so you're not moving as fast. Because when you get in an adrenaline dump, those twitch muscles that you use all the time are more reactive. You see sharper lines, like it increases vision, like does a lot.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, like definitely going to look into them.
Yeah.
Because that would make a lot of sense.
It's wild, man. You'll go down some rabbit holes.
Yeah, there's a lot of science. Which, I mean, science isn't a bad thing. Science is a good thing.
How hard is the road life on you? Like, how are you in a town for extended period of time, or is it just like one day after the other? Because you just came in from where? I mean, you're kind of just passing through and went out of your way. So thank you for coming here.
No, no problem. Like like we talked about it, and I was like, fuck, I don't know when. It'll probably be next year before I'm that close to him. But no, I was in Abilene, Kansas for 6 days. Then I went to, where the hell did I go? I went to Manhattan, Kansas for a day. Drove from there to Hazard, Nebraska, which is where my brother lives. Seen him for a day, and then this morning left there, drove here.
Really?
And then I'll leave here and I'll drive to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
For a rodeo?
For a rodeo, and I'll be in Jackson Hole for until like the last week of August.
Oh, it's so epic there, man.
That's
I love it there. Have you ever been in to Jackson
No,
Hole?
I drove through it
Okay.
multiple times, but I've never been there to do the rodeo.
Do you ever have any free time, like
Oh yeah,
at these
throughout the
things?
day. Yeah.
Oh, you got to go to Teton National Park, and it's not far. And honestly, it kind of connects to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Dude, take the time, man. Go do that. That is like one of the most beautiful spots in the country.
I'll definitely do it because, like I said, because the rodeo there's only 4 days out of the week.
Okay.
So then we got you got Monday, Tuesday, start on Wednesday, and we got Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday rodeo.
Man, that's kind of cool. I mean, as much as you guys are in danger, it's a pretty good life as a bullfighter compared to like a bull rider that's just chasing that buckle money, right?
Oh,
like,
dude, 100%.
Yeah.
But don't let them fool you. Like, they get a lot of free time, too. They ain't just always out there like, whoa, this is so exhausting. Like, no, they got free time.
You got to work 8 seconds a day. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Like, after that, they're done. Like, shit. But, yeah, no, I mean, it is a very, very blessed. And, like, I don't work because I do what I love doing for a living. So it's hard to say I'm working when I get paid to go see all kinds of cool shit. Like Jackson Hole. I mean, everybody wants to go see that. Like here, it's a tourist attraction. I never knew that and would have never known that had I not came check.
You got to come here for the rodeo. We got to get you.
Yeah, we got to
get you fighting at Evergreen Rodeo.
Heck yeah. And then, after, I mean, I get to play some of the coolest golf courses, which I just picked up golf not long ago.
Yeah.
And
so you travel. How are you traveling? Are you like pickup truck, or do you have like a mobile home, or like what is?
No, so like the rodeos, they pay like in our negotiation whenever we negotiate stuff, pay and all that. I have it in mind. They furnish me a place to stay, whether it be an Airbnb or a hotel.
Nice.
There's I don't stay in no shitty places either. Like, we have set deals. I want to look at the reviews, but not to be like,
oh god,
sound
like
snobby,
coming up and touring, man. Like some of those like Motel 6s and shit, dude. Fucking disgusting.
And I mean, there's some
bro.
places, but like there was one place I stayed at, and it's literally a motel. Like the door opens outward. Like, that's fucking not good. But shit, I went in there and locked the deadbolt and the door handle, and the door would still open. So I took the mini fridge that was by the freaking door, unplugged it, because I wasn't going to keep nothing in that fucking little refrigerator anyway, and had to use the cord, tied the cord around the door handle of the door to where if somebody did want to break in, if they pulled it hard enough, it was going to knock over the damn microwave off
at least wake you up, right?
I would at least wake up. But yeah, I stayed in there the first night, and after that I told the guy, I was like, hey, I'll go get my own room. Y'all just add it to my check.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, right now I'm driving a little Mercedes-Benz that I bought and
oh, nice.
Whipping that little thing around.
Okay.
That way when I show up to the golf courses, they're like, dude, look at this guy. He actually can play. Like, he can play.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, they are terrified everywhere until I get up to the tee box.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, this guy can't even play.
Yeah, I'm a horrible golfer, man. I got so many buddies that golf too. I honestly just don't. I have a hard time finding time for anything hobby-wise. I got to be selective, man. You got to be selective on what you do.
100% make time for golf.
Yeah.
Every time. Like, as long as it don't interfere with, like...
There'll be some badass courses up there, too. I know there is, around Jackson.
I've scoped out a couple already. I've seen that there was a couple here.
Yeah, we got some good courses here, I think. I'm not much of a golfer, but like...
Yeah, Denver owns the one that's just right here, the Evergreen Golf Course.
Yeah.
But that one's really nice. I go there all the time.
I go on it too. I live on it, so like we'll go on and just hit a couple holes, me and my son or whatever.
Really?
Like, after
I'm all about going to golf courses and not paying for it. I'm all about that.
Hell yeah!
Damn right.
That's awesome. So, okay, so that's so how? I guess is there a rodeo season? Because like. It's pretty much year round, right? Like,
yeah. So my main season is from about April through September, and then After September, it kind of slows down progressively, and then you have the finals, and always doing something down there, either the BFO finals or the American bullfighting or freestyle bullfighting deal. So you get a good little break before the finals, and then there ain't very many rodeos going on much because that's about the end of the season. I think the end of the season, it ends in October. 1st of October, so like that's when the cutoff is.
Is that to get everybody to go to the finals?
Yeah, so that's when the whoever's in the top 15 come October 1st, that's who's going to the finals because they take the top 15. Then they take the first like 5 alternates. So I think 20 go. 15 are for sure going to be in the finals in the rodeo every night. Say one of them get hurt and can't compete, then they bring in an alternate because they're going to. Each event's going to have 15 people no matter what. And, you know, that cutoff is on October 1st, if I'm correct.
How come the NFR doesn't have a bullfighting competition in it? Is that kind of what the BFO has done, and is it at the same time as the NFR is going on? Or?
Yeah, so like you have the Thomas and Mack where the NFR is, and then the BFO, they do all their stuff at the Resorts World.
Okay.
And they set up their own deal. I don't know. I know they used to do like the Wrangler bullfights there, but it kind of got freestyle bullfighting. It's kind of a long deal. Like that adds.
I would rather go to that than the rodeo, man. Like I think it's so entertaining.
It is very entertaining. But I think from a production standpoint, it's. You have a 6-man bullfight. That's going to take 45 minutes to run 6 guys. So that's adding 45 minutes on top of a 2-hour event.
Right.
That's taken away from like now all your casinos that sponsor the rodeos and stuff. They're going to be getting pissed off because they want people out of Thomas and Mack and on.
But you could make it like a separate event, like right.
Oh yeah, and they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. It's not in the same deal
in the same show, right?
Yeah,
it's the big
so just
show.
like the breakaway roping deal.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, I'm gonna do some tequila. If you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell. Lalo means Eduardo in Spanish. It's like it's pretty good, man.
Made in Mexico.
Yeah.
You ever had what the hell? George Strait. He made it.
He's got his own tequila?
Mm-hmm.
Really? The goat, man.
Cardigo.
Okay. I haven't. We'll have to try that.
You got to get unfortunately, you got to get the expensive brand. Codigo.
Anything with his name on it is going to be expensive, probably.
Yeah, Codigo. It's like, I think the one I always get. It comes out to like $2.20 a bottle.
Damn. Yeah, this is like maybe $40 a bottle. You want to pull this?
Yeah, I'll take a.
There's some ice if you want it on the rocks in that. Oh shit! I'm spilling shit now. In that Yeti cup right there.
Let me try a shot first.
Yeah.
Before I get too committed.
Hell yeah! We got a cheers too.
Yep.
Cheers, buddy. Great to have you, man. Finally.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, I used to travel with this.
No, you're good.
You good? Okay.
That's dangerously smooth, though.
Yeah, it's good tequila.
Very good. Very smooth.
I'm a big, I love Casamigos. I love Patron. I love all that. But I really like this. And it's just 100% agave. I want to start making my own tequila. I think I need to live in a warmer climate than Colorado. But
that would be awesome.
I used to, the production manager that I used to do Madonna and I did Rihanna with. And
you traveled with them?
Yeah.
No shit.
And Aerosmith was all this dude, Chris Lamb.
Really?
You would love Chris, dude. Chris was
badass.
He was a cowboy, like a rock and roll cowboy, right? Always wore a white Stetson, always shaped perfect. Like, I mean, this is not a knock to anybody in Western culture, but like I've kind of grown up around it. I've had some uncles that were bull riders and come from like a ranching family. And there's a difference between like people that are dress Western and then cowboys and rodeo cowboys. It's like,
what do we call them?
Hanyaks?
I don't know what that means, but it sounds right.
Yeah.
But we would be, I think we call them like boot barn cowboys or Cavender cowboys, which not knocking boot barn or Cavenders, but like you can look at somebody's boots and pants a lot of the time, or even their hat. Like that's how you tell. Like,
the same thing happens in Harley culture, man. Like if somebody shows up in leather chaps and a brand new leather jacket with the Harley patch on the
not
back,
gonna fuck with that guy.
and like fucking salt and pepper hair and Ray-Bans, he's a lawyer or a doctor, dude. He's not a biker, in my opinion.
Wild hogs.
He's a he's a hobbyist. He's the guy that trailers his bike to Sturgis, right? Like so it's kind of that same sort of lore. Like I can tell now just because I've been around it. And I guess one reason why I don't even attempt to ever dress in Western culture is because I've been around a lot of real badass cowboys, and it's like you can tell by like the shape of their hat or just they kind of
A lot for me, the easiest thing is their boots and their pants. If you can see the outline of the top of their boots through their pants, you ain't no cowboy.
Yeah, that's like a dead giveaway.
That's because it's like. They're trying to wear skinny jeans with boots. And it's like, man, your math ain't mathing. Like, come on now. Try a little bit harder.
Right.
I'd rather see you in shorts and boots than fucking that shit.
Yeah.
But I say a bunch of that. Like, I'm not even a cowboy. My dad, he's a cowboy.
Yeah, and there's a difference between, like, actual ranch hand cowboys. Those guys are salty as fuck,
my
man.
brother,
like,
he's a cowboy. Me, I'm a concrete cowboy.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I've gone out and helped gather and helped work cattle and all that, ride horses, rope.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do it as a living. And that's how I classify a real cowboy is somebody like bull riders. They're not cowboys. Unless, to me, they go out and they work on a ranch when they're not riding bulls. Like, if they're traveling just rodeo to rodeo, Stetson Wright, he could not ever work cows in his life, but
it's two completely different professions, man.
Yeah, he rides saddle bronc and bulls. If you ride a bucking horse, you're a fucking cowboy. I don't care what the fuck you are. You go home to your house in like New York City, in your little cubicle or whatever, you're still a cowboy because that's the most awesome sport I think is saddle
It's
bronc
incredible,
riding.
man.
Like when one's put together, there ain't another ride prettier than, in my opinion, saddle bronc riding. But like it's like there's bull rider JB Mooney. He goes out.
He's so rock and roll though, man. Like,
he'll gather.
Yeah.
Like he's a fucking cowboy. But then you have. I'm trying to think of somebody that I really wouldn't care if they got like offended. I'll just say myself, for example.
Yeah.
I put a cowboy hat on. I put boots on. I go to the rodeo. After that, you will not, like, throughout the week, unless it's like an appearance or an autograph signing, you will not see me in boots. Won't see me in a pearl snap or a long sleeve button-up shirt. Seldomly do I wear my cowboy hat. Depends on how sunny it is and hot. And that's just to keep the sun off my face.
Yeah.
I will go home and get on a dirt bike or a golf course before I will go home and get on a horse and go, like, I'm not a cowboy. Like, and to me, it's just respect for the older generation of
Well, I think it's actually part of the sport, right? Like, you have to dress.
Oh, yeah. So it's
like
cowboy heritage. Like, that's the Western heritage of the sport is being a cowboy.
But I think in your guys' own right, you guys are still
classified. Yeah.
Yeah, I just classify them different as like rodeo cowboys, ranch cowboys, and then
exactly, and that's exactly how you have it.
Boot barn cowboys,
or your
or your
concrete cowboys.
Concrete cowboys, yeah.
Or the rodeos came once a year cowboy. Like, spent this whole paycheck last week on cowboy shit.
So growing up or coming up in the industry, and shout out to Chris Lamb, like one of the best humans in the world, man. Like this dude is so rock and roll. He's worked for so many people. But he wears a white Stetson and it is shaped perfect. Like he could pull off that he's fucking Sam Elliott. You know what I mean? Like walking into, and that's how he is. He smokes filterless cigarettes. Like so we took our Harleys on one of the tours I was on. And he rides an all white Harley, and the back half of it is a saddle. Like for the seat. Yeah. He's he's like Iron Horse, you know?
Yeah.
But Chris is awesome. He makes his own tequila. Shout out to Chris. Probably not listening to this, but
that is badass.
But yeah, man, that's I've always wanted to make tequila. And I spent a bunch of time touring in Mexico too, and like going to all those tequila distilleries. It's so fucking
I bet you
badass.
get so fucked up there. Like so drunk.
You can. Yeah.
I love tequila.
Mexico's dangerous.
But like the song Tequila Makes Your Clothes Fall Off. Tequila makes my clothes either makes my clothes fall off or yeah, that's about it. Makes them all fall off.
Don't get naked in here, man.
No.
There's too many dudes in here. Right now.
It'd be like Austin weird.
Hell yeah.
But no.
Have you ever spent any time down in Mexico or South
a couple
America?
times. That's actually where I broke my leg. Was Mexico.
Really?
Or not Mexico. We were in Chorizo, Texas, which is right like you can
a
throw
border town, right?
You can throw a rock into Mexico.
Yeah.
And
you might as well be at that point,
Yeah.
man. Like some of those spots that I've been down, like
I mean, I'm pretty sure
and-
the place that like it was a very secretive place. Pretty sure they had tunnels to Mexico.
probably under the rodeo arena.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like it was covered in the middle of this, thousands and thousands of acres, like ranch.
Yeah.
It was straight up like probably I would say cartel shit, but in the middle of this ranch, like you can't see it. It's like 5 miles off the main road.
Wow.
Drive through all these mesquite thickets and all that, and then all of a sudden you just come across a circle Spanish like style bullfighting arena, and you're gonna tell me that there ain't nothing shady going around like here?
Yeah.
Like, and I mean a nice one, not just some panels like concrete, like the old, like in Spain, bullfighting.
Oh, dude, have you ever been to one of those?
No, but I've had buddies that's gone over
You need
there.
to go.
Like that's fucking crazy.
It's a different experience, man. It honestly, as much as I love animals, I had a hard time sitting through it.
But it's a very traditional thing.
It is thousands of years, like older than our country, right? And the arenas that they fight in are, and the whole Matadorian like lore, is just it's on. Dude, you want to talk about superstars, bro? Like guys, men with families offer their daughters to these guys, like do whatever you want with her, basically. It's
That's
amazing.
I've seen like a bunch of like, I mean, you see what you see on like social media and all that, but I've had like, I think 3 American buddies go over there and they Snapchat and all that. They send shit and like, there's a lot of history behind it. And so you understand it more versus like what social media sees. Oh, this guy fights this bull and kills it. Well,
yeah, everything's portrayed,
but they don't just kill that bull, like just kill it and then they send it out back. Like, they butcher it up.
Oh yeah, no,
they use it.
You can go buy a ribeye off the freaking bull or a backstrap or whatever it's kind of like a feed. It's a form of entertainment, right? Like, and I attribute it like this has been around. Imagine if the Colosseum and the arena in Verona, Italy was still doing gladiator shit, dude. We're like man versus lion, man versus bull, and this kind of came from that area, and it's a tradition that has stuck around in the Spanish culture for that long. And I mean, that was their gladiator type was bullfighting, right? And the red capes and just the whole that Spanish traditional, like there's nothing like it, man. Like do you watch the UFC at all?
Oh yeah.
When Eli Topuria won his title, all the roses that were like being thrown in there, like that was like so like Matadorian, like people show up with flowers. It's like this whole just tradition. And I think when it's in your culture like that, like how does the UFC start and it's basically banned in all these states? And now it's probably one of the biggest viewed professional sports that makes exorbitant amount of money because you become accustomed to watching guys bleed.
And not just that, you have the same people that complain about it are the same ones that want to get that you'll catch watching it, like, because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
But today's world, everybody's like, they have to have something to bitch about. If not, they don't know what to do with their lives, you know?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Or
with
they want to try to change something that somebody else is doing.
Yeah.
Like my rule number 1 is mind your own fucking business. Like, and I try to do that on my own. Like I bring in interesting people that I want to talk to.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I kind of mind my own fucking business, dude. Like if my neighbor wants to do whatever, dude, like if he wants to hit golf balls onto the golf course,
as long as it don't affect me,
in his bathrobe with his balls hanging out, fucking go for it, dude. Like
it's up to you.
I won't look over there, you know? Like,
and I mean, a lot of people like, unfortunately, like, I don't know, there's a Bible verse or whatever, but it's like disrupted peace. So like overthinking, you know, is what it causes your, how the hell does it go? It's about peace. Like you worrying about me is going to disrupt your peace.
100%. That, you know how much time it takes to worry about somebody else?
Overthinking kills your peace. Pray and leave it to God. So that, like if I'm over here worried about, oh boy, hitting golf balls into the golf course with his balls hanging out, I'm spending all my time thinking about that when I should be, you know, focused on my relationship with God or becoming a better person myself. But I'm giving all my attention to this. How can I focus on myself, you know? And that's just kind of
it's like being wrecked as a young man when like a girl breaks up with you. That is like you think your world has fucking ended for about 4 days until you meet that next girl. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Shit.
Maybe for me, huh? But there's nothing like that, man. Like you can't.
There's a saying that it's best way to get over them is get underneath a new one. Well, that's not true at all.
It's not true. Yeah,
you can't do that.
But it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it's just like when we were talking about like pills and stuff earlier, or what, like taking something. My deal is like, why are you gonna, like? Don't get me wrong, I drink, like I have a good time, but I don't ever drink because I'm depressed or try to mask something. Because I know tomorrow I'm going to wake up. Problem I'm dealing with today is still going to be there tomorrow.
Still going to be there.
I'm just going to have a hangover.
Yep.
Like it don't. So that's just my like.
I guess that's what's come with like my older. I've never drank for a problem. I've always drank for a good time or as like a
social drinker.
A social drinker, right?
Yeah.
Like the only reason I'm having a drink is because I felt bad. You're sitting here drinking beers.
I know,
and I hadn't even
like,
gotten into it.
I'm
fucking pretty straight edge, huh?
Alcoholic.
Honestly, dude, I'm having a good time with you. I didn't even think about it until now. I don't want to I never want to disrupt the conversation in here. I try not, when I first started this thing, and I'm still guilty of it, I interrupt people all the fucking time. And when you've listened to yourself for 200 hours or however long, how many ever hours I've recorded, I still do it, you know, because it's like something gets in your brain and in a conversation, you just want to, get it out before you forget it, man, and especially in here.
And that's how you know shit ain't scripted for all y'all watching.
Yeah. Every time I interrupt, it's not scripted.
But it's like, well, it's like you saying you're interrupting. Like, I don't see it as you're interrupting. I just see it as like we're sitting here, you know, having a good conversation.
A real conversation.
So it's like, and I'm ADD as hell. Like, another thing, I was supposed to take medicine for it in school, and my dad was like, no, I got your ADD medicine at home, and it's a fucking leather belt. Like, I'll make him straighten up. Because they're like, y'all need to put him on medicine and all that. He goes, no, I got his medicine at home. And
I think that's a huge thing is people are just coddling and caving into what doctors say too, man.
And, I mean, there's good people out there.
I'm not saying you should go out and whoop your kids, right? But, like...
I do.
I think that there's some value in that, right? Like,
there's
got to be consequences, man. There's consequences in real life.
Because if you feel like, for me, I've had my ass whooped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's There's some ass whoopings that I received from a belt and my dad that I felt like I didn't deserve. But I promise you there's 10 times more ass whoopings I didn't receive that I should have got.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying I'm the best person in the world, but I hold a lot of value and pride in thinking I'm a pretty damn good kid, like guy. And all that comes from being disciplined by my dad. And even now, like, I'm not saying go out there and give your kids 10 licks on the damn street or in the, like, Walmart. But by God, if they don't listen to you and they've been acting up and causing a problem in Walmart, you know, pop them a couple times. That'll straighten their ass up.
Yeah.
Don't go overboard with it, but
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, there's consequences with everything.
There is, and I think I'm not saying like child abuse is. There's a difference between a whooping and child abuse.
There's a difference between
There's a huge difference.
beating and discipline, 100%.
Yeah, and I think I was fortunate. Like, I grew up in some pretty fucked up situations, you know, in my own mind. Grew up in some abusive households where domestic violence was big against my mom, and like
Same.
some of that translated to me. Some of it I had to interject with, you know, so that was a really, really toxic
It's a
thing.
toxic deal, yeah.
But I had other men in my life that were these just like pillars of like good examples. Like, if I didn't have that good example in my mom's brothers and my mom's dad, my grandfather, of like how you should treat a woman, and one of our most recent podcasts with my buddy Jeremiah.
So you got
Wilbur.
the mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's salty
I've seen
motherfucker,
that.
dude.
Yeah,
He's
seen
awesome,
that.
man. You guys would really get along.
And then there was a chick, right?
Yeah. Cowboy girl, or
Yeah.
yeah. Micah is the first time I had met Micah. I've known Jeremiah for since the conception of this podcast, really. I think he was like episode 40 or something I had him in, and we kind of grown our relationship in here, but we have a lot of mutual friends from the military community and special operations.
Is he like ex-military?
Oh, dude, like the baddest ass level.
He looked like
Green
he
Beret.
looked like he was a
You
bad
could
son of a
be,
bitch.
right? And
Yeah.
then like I've watched his transition out of that, because and it's really cool what he's done, like starting his own nonprofit and like building purpose, and then with War Party Movement and War Party Ranch. And, you know, he's Native American from Ennis, Montana, up around where you're going, not far from Jackson Hole, you know, the other side of Yellowstone.
What kind of Indian is he?
Oh, God. He said in the last podcast, but I don't want to butcher it.
I can't remember.
It might say on his Instagram profile.
Because they have the red dot, blue dot, black dot, yellow dot, or
It's kind of a standard in that culture, is like, because they were so accepting. I mean, they accepted white people into the tribe, especially like even some of the most violent Native American tribes, like the Comanche. I've done so many deep dives on this, reading books and audiobooks and stuff like that.
because I'm Cherokee Indian.
Okay, that makes sense. From the region that's fucking badasses, dude.
Are they?
Oh my God. You got to read
I've always
the book Empire of the Summer Moon.
to read
I mean, it is wild. They were one of the most feared tribes and just ruthless warriors. But at the same time, there was a few like young women that were kind of kidnapped, white women that were kidnapped into their culture and brought into their culture. And then when they tried to reintegrate them back into a white standard American culture, or standard American culture, they ran away and went back to the tribe.
Came back to the tribe.
That way of life was better for them.
Yeah, because I
naturally.
watched that last part. I think what is it, 178?
Yeah. Yep.
And but no, I stand with you on that.
And
like,
we've done like
domestic-
3 or 4 with Jeremiah. I mean, he's just awesome. I mean, I don't even know how many operations he's been on, and I mean,
because
he's just a good guy, man. Like, there's good guys in and outside of that community, but super fucking rad dude.
And War Party, that's more of like, you know, going and, you know, dealing, like trying to stop domestic violence, right?
Well, War Party Ranch is kind of for females that have been in a domestic violence situation. They bring them into the ranch, right? And because a lot of what they focus on is indigenous people off of like reservations and stuff like that, because they don't have, it's crazy, man. They don't have the same support that the normal American does.
Oh,
because it's federal land. They don't own their land. They don't, I mean, it's really fucked up. They don't have the same sort of law enforcement to enforce everything.
They don't give shit.
Like,
a lot of them, like a lot of the law
still to this day, some of them don't even
care.
have fucking running water, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's bullshit, and it's in our country. You know what I mean?
And what's
like,
crazy is like the white man took their land.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not the guy that's like, fuck you, you're white, you took my land. But it's crazy that they got this shit into
the worst part about it is it's held at such a high regard. Like, I really appreciate that culture. That's why I'm interested in napping stone tools. Like, it's kind of the reason why mankind is here, is living in that primitive like lifestyle. And we sit here and we give them praise and we sell their artwork, and there's a ton of white people. They get nothing.
Exactly.
They get nothing, man.
And not to get on like the race deal. But true racism is started, I think, is like, that's racism. Is like, look at how they're living versus
it's crazy. Their culture, once you dive into their culture and their religion, right? Because a lot of the concepts are the same as like the King James Bible. Yeah. Right? A lot of it, but in a different light, where Mother Nature, Earth, and it makes a lot of sense in like, managing. There's so much now because of the way that we live. There were tribes that I read books on, to take it back to wildfires, because we've been experiencing quite a few recently, right? Like super close to here too. I heard. And there were tribes that managed, and their whole like religion was based around fire. So they had these fires that they never put out. So that no matter where they went, they had these dudes called fire runners, and they would run like an ultra marathon to find a new spot for the tribe to set up where it had game, water, that sort of thing. They were nomadic people. And they would carry the fire in these like buffalo horns that they built this special thing that was like inlaid with clay, so the fire would still burn. And then they had guys that watched the fire at night. So it was the same fire that burned for
years. Decades.
Since their conception, right? Because they believed it was a way to keep their ancestors alive, and they thought that they would see them dancing in it, and like, it's crazy. And there's this awesome documentary that they incorporated with that tribe and wildland firefighters, because a lot of these dudes on the reservation go out into wildland firefighting because it's kind of a way off of off the res, yeah. But anyways, we're going down so many rabbit holes. So what War Party has done is like, what better way to empower women than like to control a horse? And you know this growing up. There's something kind of like majestic about that connection with an animal. And then there's also an empowerment, right? I mean, that's kind of why you bullfight and enjoy it, right? I would imagine is like, you're overcoming something that's fucking dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. Like there's no greater feeling than, a bull coming and like you just step him over and he misses you by like a fraction of an inch.
Well, I mean, you guys are cowboy savers. That's your entire gig, right? And then making a
badass save. Like, so,
you're stepping in. Basically, you're taking a bullet for somebody.
Absolutely.
If you want to put it into that analogy, is like, you are shielding cowboys with your own body from them getting hit, and that's your sole purpose, right? So I think that there's some empowerment in that, right? Like, that makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. Sacrificing always makes me feel good. Like, I never feel better than when I help a nonprofit and ask for nothing in return. And I'm saying like nothing in return. Like, I've had them on my platform because I want to help grow them. It's not for my own, like, look who I've had on.
Look what I've done.
Or look what I've done. And I've done a ton of nonprofit work, and I purposely don't post what I do all the time on social media unless it's going to benefit them. So I think it's just being like that selfless. Like, that's when I feel the best, honestly, 100%. About like what I do or or certain things, or just doing stuff unexpected too. Like, you shouldn't have to be asked to do something good for somebody, man. Like, just do it sometimes.
If you feel led to do it, then you do it.
Yeah.
I'm a very big believer. Like he says, what you give, you will receive tenfold. Like, you give something, you're going to get it 10 times back in return.
Yeah.
You don't know when that is or what it's going to, like, if I give you money because you need it, I might not get money back, 10 times the money back, but I might get 10 times something more valuable back, you know, later on down the road. And
I think it comes down to perspective, man. Like, just the feeling the positive feeling that you get from that.
Exactly.
There's no money that can buy that.
No.
So it's worth more than the money is.
100%.
I mean, it's kind of a weird way to think about it, but
just giving somebody guidance, like
mentorship is huge, man. That's why when anybody reaches out to me and is like, "Hey, I want to start a podcast," I'm like, I just try to be encouraging and tell them anything I know. I don't view it as competition. It's like, I just try to help, you know, like,
that's like
whatever your passion is, man, fucking do it.
There's a lot of like
gatekeepers.
There's so many people out there. There's fucking enough to go around.
Oh yeah.
I've never understood the whole competitive, like being competitive and like rodeoing. Yeah, obviously, because I want to be the best and I don't want you to win. But like being a company doing something, like I did land clearing or whatever for a while, a buddy of mine, and multiple buddies that we went to school with, or, you know, acquaintances we went to school with, you know, they would start the same thing. And then everybody would be bent out of shape and I don't like that guy because he does the same, he's competition. No, there's enough fucking work to go around and you can only do so much.
Yeah.
Like, pass it on to the next person. Like,
and that's kind of, to bring it back to the reservations, that's kind of that tribal mentality, is like, you pick up the slack for people that aren't doing well and whatever they do, and then you have your own purpose. Like, you might be the best sweeper, dude. You might have been the best teepee cleaner there was, but you weren't out hunting and foraging, right? Because you sucked at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so everybody had a purpose, and I mean, I'm sure that there was hierarchy and jealousy and all that sort of stuff. That's human nature, but that kind of like tribal mentality and mentorship, I think more than anything, there's no better. I think that's ingrained in their culture, and I think that that's why they have a hard time succeeding in normal culture, man. Like, to go sit at a cubicle and like sit by yourself and be on your phone and do all that sort of like by yourself stuff. Like, I'm a very comfortable person by myself.
oh, me too.
People
think it's weird as shit too.
I mean, I'll go anywhere by myself, but I do like having other people around. But my favorite thing is going by myself in the backcountry. But I'll tell you what, man, if I was to do that for 100 days, I don't think it would be. I enjoy it because I'm around people so much, right?
Yeah.
So like, I think the next level to that is going into the backcountry with my family or best friends, or like, you know, there's nothing better than walking into a situation with people that have your back, that you genuinely trust, you genuinely love. Like, so that warfighter mentality, I think, or warrior mentality, I think they have it right. And I think we're just so disconnected from it. Like, how could you expect them to fit into a normal culture or succeed at anything that's normal?
Because, I mean, well, shit, we, like you say, normal, but
it's not normal, though.
Not normal.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, the norm is the way that they're living, like off the land, that sort of thing.
People look at that now as like not normal. And it's like, motherfucker, that's what your ancestors used to have to do.
It's the only reason that you're here.
Exactly.
Is because we primitively killed shit and ate it. Really, I mean.
Like, they found out how to, like, tan hides. They found out how to make, you know, badass buffalo jackets.
Yeah.
Everybody wants an arrowhead. Those are sacred. They did that shit. Like, they could give two shits less about an arrowhead.
It was a tool to them, right?
It was a tool.
I think that they valued them, and I know that there were like some ceremonial pieces, right? Like, they made jewelry and beads and all that sort of stuff. But it was a tool, right?
Yeah,
it was a tool.
It was.
It's like you going to Home Depot and buying making your own DeWalt drill, I think there's more of a connection because when you create something,
that would make
right,
sense. And
it
you
becomes
kill a
more of an
buffalo
art
with
form.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that there is
You kill a buffalo with a spear you made, you probably value that spear a lot more.
100%. I value these things so much just because I put them to work. Like this and the, like stuff that's been given to me, like these challenge coins, are my most valuable possessions in here. Like you could fucking take all the microphones, all the camera. I can replace that shit. That I can't, man.
No.
Like those are.
That makes a lot.
It's like
Yeah, I
honor
understand what you're saying
and
on that.
one of a kind things, right? So,
But you got to think, like, if they lost an arrow, they weren't like bent out of shape over, one arrow. They're just like, oh, I'll make another one.
yeah, it's like. It's
but if
like,
we found an arrow right now today, we'd be like, holy fucking shit! Like, we just found this arrow. Like, it's badass. And they're like, I just made me another one.
Yeah, no. But I have connections with like modern hunting tools now, like a knife that I've, cleaned 7 or 8 animals with. I lost recently, and it was a gift to me. And it was like that fucking really hit home. Like I was like, fuck, man, I have so much investment. I could just replace it with another one that looks
just
very
like it.
similar to it, but it doesn't have the same scars. It doesn't have the same.
It's funny you say that because I went to jail over a pocket knife.
Really?
A bouncer was trying to take it from me it was a long time ago, but he was trying to take it from me because you can't go in the bar with the pocket knife. And we had Ubered there, and it was a knife my dad got me made, like, for my graduation. So I told him, I was like, yeah, I'll just leave. I'll go put it in my truck, and I'll come back. Well, I Ubered there, so I didn't have a truck. I just went out there, put it in my pocket, came back in. Everything was cool. We go to leave because the bar was closing, and before I walked out the door, I just, like, out of habit, grabbed it out of my pocket, put it in my scalbert, and then he was like, the bouncer was trying to take it, but I was like, no, dude, this isn't replaceable. Like, my dad made it for me, like, you fucking have to kill me and take it from me.
Yeah.
Which, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, yeah, I could have had the replica one made, but it was just the fact that
No, it's
dad
about
made it
the
for me.
intimate connection, and I think that goes. This is a proven point to where material stuff really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes right down to it, like it's the shit it's the human connection that you have with stuff, whether it's a rock or a fucking Mercedes.
And that's
right?
to put it in perspective for me, it'd be like my vest. Gary Jones could send me 4 vests. Exactly the same. And I can get rid of all of them, give them to people and not care. But it's a lot harder for me to give away the exact same vest that he gave me 2 years ago because of the amount of history that I have in it.
Yeah.
With people that I saved. Or like that one video where I think it saved me a lot of pain and stuff. So I understand they might have looked at it a lot more sacred than what I was thinking.
But they're so cool. I mean, they're works of art in themselves. And like, I found a bunch. That was one thing that my grandfather kind of did as a hobbyist was we would go out as rock hunting, man. And you're just looking for arrowhead. And you'd be surprised if you're looking for them. Yeah. You can fucking find them, man. They're like.
Dude, you ever seen that clip where it's like a comedian and he's like, what are you here for? He's a young black guy and he's like, tell me something interesting about you. And he's like, well, I'm not stupid, but I like rocks.
Have you seen Cam Patterson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Kill Tony fan, man.
Yeah,
like that.
So that guy, that's literally what I thought of myself because I love hunting arrowheads.
Yeah.
And
do you have a collection?
Shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if I got a picture of it, but
that's awesome. Man, Texas is like they find some of the most amazing stuff. And that's all if you have Cherokee Indian in you.
I found
like they pretty much controlled Texas. Empire of the Summer Moon would be a great book for you.
We found like burial sites, like skulls and all that. Like and like I'm a firm believer in all that. Like you don't fuck with it. Like one of the ranch hands found it and like took it to his house. Like, hey, dude, better put that shit back because the spirit will come with you. And a couple days later, that some bitch was trailing right back up that trail and putting that some bitch
really?
Back.
That's cool.
Because they said a bunch of shit, like weird shit was happening at his house. And like they found rattlesnakes. Like rattlesnakes were pouring out from under his house.
What?
Like he had a den, a
Whoa.
rattlesnake den that the house
Dude,
is
those
built
things
on.
are fucking crazy, man.
But like,
Have you ever seen a rattlesnake den?
No, not a full.
Dude, I've never seen it. I've just seen videos of it, and there's like thousands of snakes, it looks like.
like this
in it.
one, shoot,
Yeah, look up, just Google rattlesnake den.
they ended up like calling a snake catcher or whatever, and they got like 150 rattlesnakes out from underneath.
Christ.
But they would have never known that they were there if he wouldn't have like he'd lived there for months before.
Yeah.
And then the day that he brings like that Indian skull, home,
That's a trip.
like snakes just started.
Oh, he had a skull?
Yeah, like
Whoa.
it was from a burial.
Yeah, that human remains is different, right?
Yeah,
And you wonder how many times it's been fucked with, and
well,
you know,
at
it's
least
like-
out there we knew it wasn't ever.
Yeah.
Good, but
that's a small one too. But look at all those fucking
can you imagine
rattlesnakes.
being
dude.
like just rolling up on
Ugh.
that? I fucking hate snakes.
I'm not a fan. I'll deal with a snake more than a spider, though. I fucking hate spiders, dude.
I don't like spiders.
I don't
either.
like any of that shit.
I don't like snakes,
honestly.
spiders, grasshoppers,
Yeah.
or frogs.
The baby ones are the most terrifying.
I tell you what, they're all terrifying and they're all dangerous to me because I'm gonna die from a heart attack when I see the son of a bitch. Like snake boots and all that shit. Like, yeah, those are cool because they'll stop the venom, but they ain't gonna stop me from going into cardiac
Yeah,
arrest.
no shit. The stress, like you're taking years off your life with just the stress.
Because if I
right?
look
Like,
at
even
it,
if you don't go into
like
cardiac
if one
arrest.
bites me and it's just hanging on my boot because the fang gets stuck in like the neoprene or whatever they have in it. Lord help me.
It's like I wonder how many like spiders and stuff have caused, because they live everywhere, right?
they say you can
Like have caused like car accidents and stuff. Because I had one situation where I got a little squirrely behind the wheel because I was dealing with like a fucking bumblebee in the car or some shit, dude. Like,
Oh well, I'd bail out.
yeah.
Man, what kind of camera?
I almost wrecked a motorcycle too. I had a bee fly inside of my helmet, and it stung me in the face and then like in the eye. I was like, that shit. I didn't know what was going on at first, and then I saw it like buzz around. I was like,
How the hell
oh
does that
shit.
happen?
And then I'm on a motorcycle of all places. Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I ever get in a car wreck, if I ever die in the car wreck and it was a car wreck, it wasn't because I was on my phone, because I don't do that a whole lot. It was because I sneezed when I was driving. I swear that'll be the death of me.
Pollen.
Like sneezing and driving, because
Yeah.
it's like I don't know what it
One
is
after
about
another.
right when you're in driving, but my sneezes, they're always 10 times worse when
Yeah.
I'm behind the wheel, and it's like
I don't sneeze very often, but when I do, it's like fucking hang on, dude. You might crack your neck or something. No, man, but arrowheads are so cool, and finding them, like that connection of just picking up something that maybe hasn't been touched since the last time.
yeah, that's all.
And I know you're not supposed to collect them, and I know whatever, but like if
I
it's
think
on
I've never
private
heard you're not-
property, like
I've never heard
all
you're
of
not-
Texas is private property,
Oh,
pretty
like
much.
illegally
Yeah,
hunt
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, you ain't
Yeah.
supposed to do that, but fuck them.
Yeah, it's
If you follow, as long as you're on a creek, you just when you find them, stand in the middle of the creek because it's like free range.
yeah,
Now, if you go get on the bank, I think that's when they can get you for
really.
you're on.
I don't
my
know what the
property.
laws are, and we don't do it much anymore because we used to do it as like a family kind of tradition. It was great, man. Like the time that I spent with my like grandfather and just like these majestic spots where you knew there were tribes there, or there was native people there, was so cool. And then he
Yeah.
would even take it a step further of just like, okay, if you want to find arrowheads, you got to think like a hunter. So where would you find cover? You know, there's
Like, where would you
there's
set
a
up?
piece of driftwood here. Maybe he was, they couldn't shoot that far. Their bows didn't, like, I came from a family that was all bow hunters
Yeah,
because of like Fred Bear and all that. And even around that era, it's like, so like kind of learning about hunting, but not only that, just like talking about everyday life. Like how often do you go out, and spend 8 hours with somebody walking around at a
Looking for
very
rocks.
slow pace next
Yeah.
to each other? Like it's
Yeah.
that sort of connection is unheard of. I think it's so cool.
yeah, you don't see that much anymore. One of my like best friends growing up. He's pretty big into going and doing that. My dad loves doing it. Shoot, I have a rock garden outside my house, like right when you walk out, and it's just full of it's a cactus garden, but it's full of like, instead of mulch or dirt or whatever, I just have it topped with arrowheads that we found and
Oh, that's cool.
shit hundreds, like maybe thousands, but
Really?
yeah, I love arrowheads. Like,
Yeah.
they're super cool.
They're so cool. I mean, let's look at these pieces. I've actually gotten into, like, now having my friend Donnie Dust made all those. None of these are artifacts. Someday they will be. But
the fact of just like
the craftsmanship, like, so I've kind of taken an interest in building my own now, and we're going to have a recent, we're doing this new series called On the Mountainside. I don't think I'm going to come fight bulls with you. I might come hang out at a rodeo. But we kind of take we bring a film crew, and it's kind of an immersive thing, right? So, like, my friend Sarah Gamache came out, and we went to, she's a big bow hunter, and we have a 3D archery course here, and that's kind of what I'm really into is archery. And it's a lot like playing golf. Like, you just go from target to target. It's life-size elk, caribou. They're all foam targets. And you
I think
throw
I've seen
arrows.
that.
Yeah.
She's pretty good looking, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
I've seen
she's
that.
a stunning woman, badass. Comes from a badass family. Her husband's super cool dude.
Oh, she's
like
married.
active
Never mind.
military guy, and
I apologize.
he'll come. Those guys will come find you in the middle of the night, dude.
I'll stand in the middle of a bullpen, like, come on with it.
But
they'll probably kill the bulls, and then they'll be like, what
no,
now?
but Sarah's awesome, and she kicked my ass on the archery range. Like, an incredible shot too. Like,
because that's a different podcast, right?
yeah, so it's kind of it goes along with the podcast. It was actually kind of
it's gonna
my
be a
original
video?
envisionment, but it costs so much production wise because I got to hire a film crew. Like, I want to do it right. So we bring out a drone.
Oh,
so there's
shit, yeah.
aerial footage, there's multiple camera angles and a film crew, and we go out, and then the editing takes a bit more, but a bit more immersive thing, like going and doing something with somebody, and then we come in here and record too.
and talk about it.
And I've done that. Like, I did with 2 of those arrowheads, the one that you just specifically picked up. I don't know if you see that red hue that's kind of on it.
The what?
This kind of red hue. That's blood from a bison. Like, that specific piece cut out a bison heart.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like
Okay,
I
that's
even have
badass.
much more connection to it. I was
Because you're
super lucky.
You're using it instead of just making it and looking at it. You're putting it to use. Okay.
We've had a couple archaeologists on here because I'm so fascinated with this. And in doing that, my buddy Donnie introducing him to me, CU Boulders hired him. He's such an incredible maker of these pieces. Like, I mean, I found arrowheads that don't have as good as craftsmanship as he does, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're incredible. So CU Boulders hired him to replicate points that they found at dig sites, so they're not using the actual points, and reverse engineering, like testing the effectiveness of them by throwing them into an actual bison carcass.
Throwing them into something?
And then the second half of the experiment was myself and Donnie butchering it using nothing but stone tools, how long it took, what was effective, what wasn't. I mean, everything, like rib meat, and then they took the whole carcass or the whole skeleton to a beetlarium after we cut all the meat off of it, all the hide, and they had the beetles clean the rest of it off. And you can see all of our stone knife marks in the actual skeleton stuff. It's on display.
That'd be
So
awesome.
it's all kind of in the name of science. And I got about 300 pounds of meat out of it too.
Did you
that
get
was
any
just
jerky made? Bison
no,
jerky?
I brought it home and butchered it all myself. So I cut everything into steaks, pretty much, and like stew meat, and did a little bit of burger. And then I got a bunch of dog packages too. We took the tendons, the tail, everything. I made a bunch of dog packs, so my dogs are still eating bison.
Yeah.
They're not eating fucking kibble, dude. Like, yeah.
Gravy train or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, Roy.
Oh, Roy.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So do you still go out and
I haven't in a long time.
Yeah.
But it's still something we're like, hey, we need to go Like
maybe we could do that together. That would be cool if
That
I
would
ever
be
find
badass.
myself down around your guys' parks.
absolutely.
Go
Like,
out.
we have a bunch. My dad has a big place that we can
Yeah.
always go hunting. It's just more so getting the time, or when I am in town, like wanting to go.
Yeah, maybe we won't film that one, but yeah, no, that was kind of the concept behind the mountainside, because I'm always doing stuff like that. I was like, how badass would it be to have a film crew here while we're doing this reverse engineering experiment
Oh,
on
absolutely.
this bison, right?
For
Like,
sure.
you can't capture it all with your phone. So that's kind of the concept. So moving forward, and hopefully our sponsors will pay for more of it, and we'll get out there and do some more shit. Maybe I'll come out and fight a really slow, old handicap bull or something.
only if they sponsor you more money.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Will I be there to help them?
You're right. I'm definitely not going to ride one, dude. I don't want nothing to do with that. But
I don't know what, like, because I rode bulls for 3 years before
Mm-hmm.
I started fighting bulls. I don't know. I think I'd probably ride bulls before I fought. Like, if I was to tell somebody else, I'd be like, probably be better for you to ride bulls, because, like you said.
well, you got somebody like yourself coming in to save you.
But, and again, like, I'm out there. You're only getting on one bull tonight. I gotta be out there with every single one of them, you know. So I think it'd be safer as a bull rider than
Yeah.
it would be a bullfighter.
No, it makes a lot of sense. The
I
more
would
time.
think,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
You're downrange a lot more.
Some people are like, but then in my eyes, I'm like, I like being in control. So as long as I'm on my feet, I have control of.
That's
where
my
I
feeling.
go.
It's like the out of control stuff.
Like
It's
when you're on a bull, you're in control. You're not in control at all. You might be in control of your body while you're riding him, but he is controlling where he's going and where your body's going, because he's making you have to make the move to go over there. So I don't know. It'd be a hard one, I would have to say, but I can somewhat control a bull while I'm on my feet, because if he's mean enough, I can control which way he goes. I can make him follow me. And
How
all
much of
that.
it is motor skill? Like that point where you make the decision, like, oh shit, I got to step in between. Because I see you as those bulls are bucking. Like, I've watched you, and your videos are awesome. Your promo reel. So go follow Blake on Instagram. It's at Blake Miller.
Instagram, I think it's official.
We just
Blake
had
Miller.
you official Blake Miller. And there's also, if you open the show notes right now, there's a direct link to Blake and his YouTube channel. Like, subscribe on all platforms. There you are, golfing too.
Oh, that was back in the Gap. I had no business being out there golfing.
Yeah, official Blake Miller and an underscore after it. But if you've made it all the way to the underscore, you don't know how to work Instagram, so it should pop up. But yeah, you're a fucking amazing follow. But I've seen, as those bulls are bucking, a lot of times they're spinning. And you guys are kind of timing where you're like almost doing like footwork like a boxer or something, where you're stepping in, stepping out. And then that moment where you choose to go in, is that just like it's got to be like a feeling a little bit, right? Like,
Oh, yeah. It's definitely like muscle memory. Like, especially for me, like being a ex-bull rider, I know, like, just by watching the bull riders, I know, like, when their body's in a position where they're not going to be able to recover. So the next couple jumps, if not the next one, like, their body's not, like, they're no longer going to be on the bull. They're going to be getting thrown off the bull or on the ground. So that helps me a lot with knowing where to position my body and all that throughout the ride. That way, whenever they do hit the ground, I'm able to be in the right spot, like within a fraction of a second, or take one step and be right where I need to be. And there's a lot of shit going on in, 0.3 seconds. Like, that's how quick you got to make the decision. You got to read the position of the bull, which way the bull's going, which position the rider's body's in, where he's going to be going, what hand he's riding with, will he be hung up if he goes off on that side. You got to think all these things like that, or you're late.
Is being hung up the worst thing that can happen to?
No,
I mean, there's a lot of bad shit that can happen, but like, how do you guys even go around that? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is just my dumbass watching bull riding, and there's always a close-up camera of the guys tying in their hand. So they basically put like a special kind of knot in it. Some guys do it a little bit different, it looks like, but they're wrapping their hand tight with this sticky glove and this sticky rope that's heated up, sticky, and then they're basically tying a knot around their hand and using their own fingers as that knot. So when they open their hand, potentially it can come undone, right? But if the hand rolls over, is that what locks it into where they can't open their hand?
So like, as an example, like,
yeah, but those headphones are
one,
useless today.
So like, if you're riding an American rope, you have a leather block that's on the rope, and if I'm left-handed, I'll put my left hand up against the block. And then I'm going to, like, my wrap is where I'll lay the rope over it, close my hand, go back underneath my hand, and lay it over one more time. Then, like, typically I'd put it between my pinky, and that locks it in. And then you have a bunch of rosin, which is tree sap, syrup, road tar, that these chemists in bull riding, like bull riders, like they think that they're Breaking Bad or something. They throw all these ingredients together and they melt this shit down because they want it to be as sticky as possible.
It is too. Like if you've ever touched a bull rope,
absolutely.
you could like stick it to the wall and it'll hold its own weight.
There's people I've worked hang-ups with where I got their hand out of the glove before I could get the glove out of the rope because it was so sticky.
Really?
Like it's Boudreaux Campbell and JB Mooney, they make this fucking rosin is what they call it. And it's the name of it is never let go because it won't let go of you and you can't let go of it.
So like once they make a fist, they have a hard time opening their hand? Right?
Because they can open their hand.
Okay.
But it is harder for them to open their hand, but it's also a lot harder for the rope to come undone. Versus, so whenever you take that wrap and the block's right here, when you get hung up, so to get off the bull, you want to get off into your hand. So you want to kick your leg off like...
So you want to go towards your thumb.
You want to go towards your thumb. That allows your hand to slide down the rope. Versus if you get off away from your hand rolls over and you're wedged in that block.
So when guys are typically getting bucked off that side, then
yeah. So then at that point when it rolls over, like I have to go in there and pull the tail and work your hand out of it. But now they have Brazilian bull ropes, which pulls from the opposite side. So if I'm left-handed, the block would be on this side. You'll pull your tail, which would be the end of the rope, and instead of it going from left to right, going through your pinky, it goes from right to left. Then you circle it back around and then put it through your finger. Now, if you get off away from your hand will slide down the rope. But if you try to get off into your hand, you're going to be hung up. So it's like vice versa.
Okay.
If it makes sense. And I don't really know what the point of a Brazilian rope is other than it kind of...
Well, there's a ton of Brazilian guys that have come into the sport, right? It's kind of like gi versus no gi jiu-jitsu a little bit.
Yeah. So but an American rope, when you pull it, it gets tight on your hand as well as the bull. Brazilian rope, you can sit there and run your hand, like you can pull that rope as tight as you'll get it and you can run your hand in and out. So it's kind of like a disadvantage to the bull because you're pulling, like when you pull that rope in there, if you pull it super, super tight, I mean, it restricts like bucking, like not saying all Brazilians do it because not all of them do, but that's when you start getting in the deal of like soaking a bull, which taking the air from it, which you're not taking the air from it because they can still breathe perfectly fine, but you're restricting the air amount that they can bring in. So it's like a disadvantage, like versus an American rope, no matter like however hard you pull it into the bull, you're going to feel it on your hand.
Oh, so you're feeling the same amount of tension, but on a Brazilian rope,
on a Brazilian rope, you're not at all.
So is that legal in professional rodeo?
Yeah, it's legal. But it's also harder to ride one with a Brazilian rope because if your hands are not stuck in there, you're having to hold on with full, like, physical ability, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because you're holding on to a 2,000-pound bull. Versus American, you got
you have something to brace off of a little bit.
And it's like your hand's stuck in there because, like, all of the pressure on it, like, it's not going to go nowhere.
What's the worst hang up have you ever had one where you couldn't untie it and they had to, like, cut it off? Or what's the next step if you can't?
So I've never had one where we've had to, like, cut the rope with them being, like, hung up in their hand, but I have had their spurs get caught in the tail of the rope or in, like, a bull flank.
Shit. And
so then they're hung up to the bull by their spur on their leg. And so that's like a whole nother deal. Like, it half hitched through the tail or something, then you got to cut the rope. But those are pretty graceful. Like, if you
so you're running into a 2,000-pound animal that's got a rope tied around it with a knife at this point. Or
yes,
did they make like a special
but we
cutter?
have a special knife. So it's
like a seatbelt knife?
It looks like a seatbelt cutter, but it's more heavy duty.
Okay.
It's more like, it has a bigger opening for like you to fit the rope through it.
Okay.
And it's about 10 times sharper than a razor blade.
Wow.
So you can run in there and it's a bent, like curved, smooth.
I carry, I always carry like seatbelt cutters in my car, but like the best ones is Gerber makes this one, but it's for military guys to cut off bulletproof vests and stuff, I think is what it's, or it's a seatbelt cutter, but man, they're badass and they're not expensive, but it's got a big enough hole that like a glove, you could use a glove and it's just a heavier dutier.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Because the company that made all of ours, like, they went out of business. We used to use Houdini.
Okay.
Houdini knives. They made a badass one, but they're not in business anymore, I don't think.
Huh.
But there is one guy out of Oklahoma that makes just bullfighting knives. So he makes pretty damn good ones.
That's
and
badass.
you can run it up and down your arm. It won't cut you or the bull or anything like that. It's strictly just for. Now, if anything gets inside of that,
you put your finger inside of it.
But if you do that, you got bigger problems than you know what to deal with.
Hell yeah. Well, shit, we are 2.5 hours in, believe it or not.
No.
We need to wrap this up. You got to get down the road, right? Or up the road, all the way to Jackson. You got a good 8 or 9 hours. When do you have to be there?
The perf starts tomorrow. So
okay.
Have a little bit of time.
All right. Well, cool. We're going to wrap it up. Dude, thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
We got to do this again.
Absolutely.
I feel like it wasn't long enough. You're welcome here anytime. Let's get you back for Evergreen. And yeah.
Hell yeah. I might hit you up. I'm going to be in Wyoming for like a month or so. So I might hit you up on my way home.
Yeah. Come back.
Something like that.
Come back through. Maybe we'll go play golf. Fuck the podcast.
I'm down for that.
All right.
I'm always down for golf.
Or we'll do both.
I will detour hours for golf.
Yeah, I'm not any good at it, so don't expect me to be. But real quick before we end this thing, anything you want to put out? Your schedule? You got a website or anything? Or
my schedule should be put on it should be on my Facebook, or I think it's on my YouTube channel. But no, the only thing I got is.
Who makes your promo stuff? Is that all you?
Yeah, I do. So I'll hire like a videographer or somebody with a video camera to come like take videos and stuff, and then I'll do all the edits.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Looking forward to seeing some more content. I always love your content. That's what spurred this relationship, man, and why you're sitting here now. And
hell yeah.
I think it's badass what you do. Stay safe out there, brother. And yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
And go follow official Blake Miller on Instagram. YouTube is at official Blake Miller as well.
TikTok should be the same, and Facebook's the same. I think it's all the same. I finally got it all where it's in sync with each other.
Hell yeah. All right. It's a great follow. Stay safe, man. And thanks for coming in here.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Our first professional rodeo cowboy bullfighter in here, man. And hats off to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.